Set your DVR from any device.
I can set it from here, too.
Gotta go!
Anywhere.
Probably can't set it from here.
Nope.
Whatever you're passionate about, Time Warner Cable invents better ways to love it even more. Time Warner Cable. Enjoy better.
Hi, my name's CJ. A few years ago, my father became seriously ill. I did what I could do before he passed, but it took its toll. I lost my job, my house. I'm getting back on my feet, but I don't know when there'll be food on the table. How'd I do, CJ?
We could be twins.
Well, cousins, maybe.
Play a role in ending hunger. Visit feedingamerica.org/hunger and find your local food bank.
Senior Day here today at the Charles E. Smith Center, downtown Washington, D.C., as we get set for today's game between the Colonials and the Dayton Flyers. Take a look at the starting lineups, and first off for Dayton, this is a team, as you said, Tony, in the open, led by Kevin Dillard. He's coming off a great game on Wednesday, but they have been a very solid lineup here as of late, winning 4 of their last 5.
Yeah, especially those freshmen, Deshaun Pierre, Devin Scott.
Anybody hear me in the
Those
truck?
are kids who are really scoring a lot of points and making key buckets at key times for Dayton.
They're coached by Archie Miller out of North Carolina State. There he is, a young coach, only his second season. Season on the line here today for them.
Absolutely. This is the kind of game where you live to be for a coach. I mean, you want your team to be in a position to advance into the postseason, and you got to win this game if you want to advance for your Dayton.
For the Colonials, they'll make a couple of small changes in their starting lineup. You'll see Dwayne Smith and Brian Bynes, 2 seniors, will start on Senior Day. Bynes is a guy who a couple of weeks ago they said was out for the rest of the year with a broken tibia. I guess today it's a good day for him to get back into the lineup.
Senior Day, you drag yourself on the court. You don't care about the broken tibia. It's time to get out there and play. So, you know, great tribute to these kids, giving them an opportunity to start on their Senior Day, but a big game.
And Mike Lonergan, he is in his second season here at George Washington, but he has had a great career, 20 years of coaching, 399 wins. So a win today, get him into the A-10 tournament, get him his 400th career win if they can do that today.
He'll bring all 20 years of his experience to this game prep, getting his team ready to play today, ready to win this game against a Dayton team that, you know, is on a roll. George Washington comes in losing 4 straight games. Dayton comes in winning 3 straight games. George Washington's got to turn that around if they're going to have a chance.
All right, prior to our tip today, Tony, let's take a look at your keys to victory for both of these teams.
Well, it starts with Dayton, balanced scoring. A huge key to Dayton's success in the last 3 games has been its balanced scoring attack. 5 guys averaging in double figures over that span, leading to over 80 points a game. When you have balanced scoring, the defense is at a disadvantage. Dayton needs to have that again today against George Washington. And for George Washington, defend the 3-point line. GW is one of the worst teams in the Atlantic 10 in defending the 3-point line. Number 13 out of 16 teams. Dayton is one of the best 3-point shooting teams in the conference. In fact, number 1 in 3-point field goal shooting percentage. There is no way that GW can win this game if they allow Dayton to make a bunch of threes.
And the Flyers had that 3-ball going back on Wednesday night in their win against St. Bonaventure to set up today. Devin Scott will jump it up for the Flyers. Isaiah Armwood will go for the Colonials. Thanks for being with us today on Time Warner Cable Sports Channel. A Saturday afternoon A-10 basketball, and we are underway, and Bynes will start the game with a basketball. Defensively, the Flyers really shut down St. Bonaventure on Wednesday, a team that was averaging close to 75. They had only 22 at the first half. Sure, Coach Miller wants them to get it done on the defensive end here today. And first shot is up, it is no good, and the rebound will go out of bounds. Take a look at the series, sorry Tony, the series history here. G-Dub with a 1-game advantage, but the Flyers, you see, as of late, have been much more successful, winning 5 of the last 6.
Looks like a little pre-game jitters. Both teams coming out, missed layup, easy layup opportunity for George Washington. Dayton unable to gather the basketball, falling out of bounds, creating the turnover, and now a quick foul. Both these teams are going to have to ease their way into this game because there's so much on the line. You just get so hyped up pre-game. You've got to calm down and play your game.
Deshaun Pierre ended up collecting that foul for the Flyers. They got into a little bit of foul trouble. Benson did in that win on Wednesday night against St. Bonaventure, but it ended up not mattering. George Washington offensively struggling as of late as a team, only averaging 65 points per game, but Garino gets to the rack. Again, misfire. Smith is there. Can't get the putback. Rebound fumbled around. Finally, Smith picks it up. His shot over Devin Scott was short, and Scott turns around and grabs the rebound.
4 missed GW shots, all within 4 feet of the rim, showing their nerves. But Dayton, on the other end, way too many offensive rebounds for George Washington to start this game.
Benson tries to take on the baseline, floats one up and in, and the Flyers take the early 2-0 lead.
Nice smooth move by Josh Benson with the spin and going up and making his 4-footer.
Joe McDonald, one of the talented freshmen on this George Washington team, with a good feed to Garino, but again, strong take, can't get it in the hoop. Here come the Flyers back the other way in transition. 4 missed layups and a 4-foot shot also missed by George Washington. You can see the butterflies in these Colonials. And Devin Scott's going to get called for an illegal screen out on top. So George Washington will get the ball back. Turnovers have been a problem for Archie Miller's team, but they had only 3 in the second half of that win on Wednesday night against St. Bonaventure. This is Bynes. Now they work it around to McDonald down in the corner. Neither of these teams have a great inside presence, although Smith with a take here. Fires it back over to the wing, and a perimeter jumper by Armwood will get the Colonials on the scoreboard.
Let's see if that settles this George Washington team down on the offensive end. Making a jump shot in your offense, that's a good way to get it done.
Started out 1 for 6 from the floor. B. Sanford, little fader on the baseline, rolls out. And the Colonials and McDonald will secure the rebound in transition. Bynes hard to the rack, gets it to go. He had a shot ordered by Benson, but the Colonials take the lead.
Great pass by Garino and fast break transition, 2-on-1. Drew the defender to him and then kicked it over to Bynes to make the layup. It almost didn't go in. He went up to dunk it. The ball rattled around, almost didn't get in there. Watch Garino draw the defender, then kick it over to Bynes. Bynes goes up like he's going to dunk it and then kind of did a half dunk, half layup. But he was very fortunate to get to go down. A lot of times when you get caught in between, that ball does not fall.
Kevin Dillard works it up the floor now for the Flyers. Takes a little tumble. Boy, he and Bynes going at it here in the early going. Dillard dribbles out of the double team, and Benson will get called for traveling. So a turnover for the Flyers. George Washington will get it back, and we get our first sub of the ball game as Devin Oliver, who has been outstanding for the Flyers as of late, will check in. He's a junior out of Kalamazoo, Michigan, and Benson will get the early seats.
Devin Oliver has really thrived in that 6-man role, able to come in and do so many different things that it's hard for a team going against Dayton to account for him coming off the bench, because he can morph himself into whatever the style of the game is.
Armwood posting up out on top. Dillard comes in with that double team. Now McDonald strong to the rack. And the rebound out of bounds. Last touch by Dayton.
Todd, I can't remember seeing as many missed layups as we've seen George Washington miss in the first 3 minutes and 17 seconds of a game. Yet again, opportunity at the rim, just go up. Opportunity right there, rim in front of you, and George Washington has time in and time out in the first 3 minutes of this game simply missed those chances. Those are shots you've got to make if you want to beat a Dayton team that's really making shots on their end of the court all year.
For Dayton, Jalen Robinson is checked into the lineup. Devin Scott is sitting down, so you see Robinson in 12 in red. Little take here by Bynes. Off the mark. Offensive rebound, Smith, and they finally get it to drop.
5th offensive rebound by George Washington. They're not making any shots, but those offensive rebounds are giving them second opportunities. Dayton can't have that. I mean, you're happy to come down and miss all the shots you want to. As long as you get offensive rebound chances, that equalizes things up.
Bynes will get called for a foul. And we get our first G-Dub substitution. Lasan Chroma has checked into the lineup. And sitting down will be Joe McDonald. Kevin Dillard coming off a game on Wednesday night. 18 points, 5 rebounds, 8 assists. He played in 35 minutes of that game. He is closing in on the career record for assists at Dayton in just a short period of time. Here is Pierre down the lane, and he gets fouled by Dwayne Smith.
That time, Dyshawn Pierre did what you're supposed to do. When an opportunity presents itself to go to the rim, you go to the rim hard. He did that and drew the foul.
Timeout on the floor. 15:57 to play first half. George Washington with the early 4-point lead.
Kiesel spent 8 minutes decorating their little brother.
Brushing for 2 minutes now can save your child from severe tooth pain later. 2 minutes, twice a day. They have the time.
College is more than just a collection of courses. For us, it's a single course, a journey, and it's one we travel together. We are the University of Dayton.
In 1977, an 8-year-old boy picked up the game of golf from his father. The odds of that same boy then making it to the US and European Pro Golf Tours, 1 in 7 million. The odds of the Big Easy winning the US Open twice, 1 in 1.2 billion. The odds of him having a child diagnosed with autism, 1 in 88. Ernie Els encourages you to learn the signs of autism.
George Washington with the early lead as we get to our first media timeout here today at GW, and you can use just about every cliche you want today for George Washington, Tony. The back's against the wall, got to play hard all day long. This is what's ahead of them. They need to win today to stay alive for a possible tournament in the Atlantic 10.
No margin for error here for GW, and you know they got to get over the fact that they lost 4 straight games coming into this game right here and this opportunity, because you can get down on yourself pretty easily, realizing that you kind of made your own bed here by losing 4 straight. You got to get over that and focus on this game and win. When you haven't really done it in four games in a row, you kind of forget what it's like to win basketball games. You got to refire those neurons.
Sean Pierre is at the line, and he misfires on the first free throw. It's a very good free throw shooting team, 4th in the Atlantic 10. Pierre is 65% on the season, misses them both. And George Washington's Isaiah Armwood's got the rebound. Colonials with a 6-2 lead here in the first half. See Armwood and Robinson really working hard down low. Bynes will just take it back out on top as they reload the offense. Carino now with 10 on the shot clock. Double team him out high. Smith fumbles it around. 4 to shoot. Carino tries to make something happen down in the corner, and on the weak side, the rebound will come off for Devin Oliver.
Excellent team defense by Dayton. Solid positioning, never giving any cracks, always helping out off your man. Really stifled the GW offensive attack.
Little screener roll down low, and Robinson's going to get called for traveling. So another turnover. That is the 3rd for Dayton. And Tony, they've only gotten up 2 shots in the first 5 minutes of the game today.
Well, turnovers have been a big part of the problem for Dayton throughout the course of the year, averaging more than 15 turnovers a game, 2nd worst in the Atlantic 10. When they have not played well, it's because they've turned the basketball over.
And George Washington still protecting a 4-point lead right now in the early going. And massive substitutions. That is Keithan Savage. He's a freshman from Fairfax, Virginia. Kevin Larson lost the handle inside, also has checked in. Armwood, who's been out there since the opening tip, gets right to the basket, gets a friendly roll.
Strong move by Armwood, just took it up through traffic.
Dillard from the right point will knock down a 3. Let's see if that gets Dayton going.
Can't forget about Kevin Dillard. The GW defense just simply forgot about him. He's the best player on the court. For Dayton, you can't let him have wide open shots at the 3-point line because he'll do just that every time.
Leads them in 3-point makes on the season. That was his 52nd of the year. Nemanja Mikic is into the ball game as well. They're number 30 in white for George Washington. So this is a team that changed up their starting lineup today. Now we'll see if they get back into their normal rotation that they have throughout the course of the game.
You can see Dayton really wanting to get their defense out on the perimeter, getting to passing lanes. That's how they normally play, but it looks like they're being even a little bit more aggressive today, really trying to pressure this GW offense, which is not great coming in. GW's offense is not what it should be at this level. They have to rely on rebounding and defense to create opportunities, and Dayton's trying to get out there and pressure the basketball all over the court.
See the rebounding margin early on, and a majority of those are on the offensive glass right now for George Washington, as picking up an offensive foul is LaShawn Croma. So he'll get called for his first foul, first turnover against the Colonials, and Dayton will get the ball back.
Well, that's a tough call by the official, way out there away from the basket in a game where, you know, the tournament, the conference tournament's on the line. Boy, you'd like to see him let him play a little bit more than that.
Oliver sets that high screen. Now Oliver on the penetration right down the lane, and a good take by Devin Oliver.
Devin Oliver can shoot that three-point shot, but he realized that time that one quick pump fake got into the rim. Excellent move.
Inside to Larson, sent back at him by Robinson, and after the rebound by Oliver, John Capriva is going to get called for the foul.
Todd, we talked about this freshman class for Dayton really playing well and being a key part of the engine for this three-game win streak. Well, Jalen Robinson is a big part of that. Excellent move. He got beat initially. Wasn't in the right spot on the defensive side playing post defense, but when you have athleticism like that, you can block shots from behind like that, you have a chance to make up for your mental errors.
Well, you don't want to get too far ahead of things, but there is a bright future for Dayton Flyer basketball. Yeah, they may have had a down year this year, but there's so many talented young players on this team. Robinson will save it on the baseline, and then we get a whistle. But when you look at the players like Oliver, who is a junior, V. Sanford, who is a junior, but then you throw in some of those younger guys and the recruits that they've got coming in, next couple of years is going to be pretty bright for Archie Miller's club. A foul on George Washington went against Savage, as he picked up his first. Even after a slow start, Dayton right now just trailing by one. See, Matt Derenbecker has checked into the Dayton lineup. Robinson on the screen and roll right to the basket.
Nice pass by Price. Saw Robinson kicking down towards the rim, but a nice little off-look bounce pass, and Jalen Robinson gathers it up and goes strong.
7 straight by the Flyers over the last minute and 40 seconds, and they've got their first lead of the day. Mikic from the perimeter. Rebound lost out of bounds, and it'll be Dayton basketball.
Three-point shots is not part of the GW offense. They are one of the worst teams in Atlantic 10 in shooting and making three-point shots. You got to shoot them every now and then just to stretch the defense out, but you're not going to see a lot of George Washington three-point shots today, not unless George Washington is not interested in winning this game.
And a bad turnover there as McDonald's pass went right past Armwood and out of bounds. And even though there's somewhat of a smile on Coach Lonergan's face, he's not happy about that miscue.
Those are the mental errors that you just can't afford to have in a game like this. Every possession is so important. To just kind of throw it away really gives Dayton an advantage.
And we're going to get a foul here as Armwood will get called for going over top of Robinson on the interior post play. And now a disgusted look on the face of Coach Lonergan as you take a look at it again.
Watch Isaiah Armwood on Robinson. He got his arm around him. The official thought he grabbed him and got an advantage going after the basketball. Can't play with your hands in the post. You got to play with your feet.
They leave Dillard open again, Tony, and he buries one out on top. And George Washington will call a 30-second timeout.
You can't leave Kevin Dillard alone at the three-point line. He's going to make shot after shot and just give it to him wide open. He comes off a little screen. He's standing there. He's going to be within 5 feet of Kevin Dillard when he caught that ball. He had time to turn, gather himself, square, and shoot the ball. He shot that shot in the gym thousands of times. He's going to make that shot way more often than not. You've got to get defensive pressure on him if you're George Washington.
A 40% three-point shooter, leaving him that open out on the perimeter. And again, this is the best three-point shooting team in the conference. And after being down 7-2, Dayton now on a nice little run to give themselves a 4-point cushion as George Washington has to use their first timeout.
Dillard may be 40% on three-point shots, but that's probably when it's contested. When you give him an uncontested shot, he's probably closer to 70 or 80%.
Savage will hit Mikic out on top with the Flyers in his face immediately, and Oliver, good post defense down low. It'll step in front of Smith and come up with a steal.
Dayton really turning up the heat on the defensive end. George Washington struggling to really do anything on their offense. Dayton in every passing lane, pressuring every ball handler.
Robinson, and he will get called for traveling. Couldn't keep that pivot foot still. And we've got a timeout on the floor. 11:30 to play here in our first half. Dayton, slow start, but rolling now. They lead 12-8.
Garbage? You just sit back and relax.
Dayton a 10-0 run, but Tony three-point shooting and defense has helped lead to it.
Absolutely, and when you leave wide open shooters like this out in the court, Dayton's going to bury that, especially when it happens to be the best player. But also these driving lanes, Devin Oliver wide open, all the way able to drive to the rim and make some shots. Dayton really getting good opportunities in their offense to score at the rim and to make open jump shots. George Washington's got to turn up the temperature on their defense. They simply cannot give Dayton these easy scoring opportunities.
And George Washington with 3 turnovers in the last 2 minutes, but a strong take by Ethan Savage. He's got free throws coming up. A very interesting first almost 9 minutes. Remember, we talked about Dayton had only had 2 shots in the first 5 minutes, but now they're 5 of 6, so low volume but high percentage.
And they've been doing that through their offense and getting those, 6 shots. They've really done well in their offense to get it to the person in the right position to make open shots and to get the easiest shot that the defense will allow. And that's how you shoot a high percentage. Not just necessarily the shooter being hot, but putting the shooter in the right position to make the right shot.
Saw Devin Scott check out. He had just come back into the lineup as that free throw was missed, and Benson's going to get called for a push-off here. Scott had just come back into the lineup and then picked up his second foul, so he had to go out. Jalen Robinson returns right back to the lineup, and now Benson picks up a foul on the rebound.
And 2 missed free throws by George Washington. That's a storyline to think about for the rest of this game. If it stays close, George Washington, the worst free throw shooting team in the conference. You win invariably. You win big games by shooting free throws down the stretch when it's close. If George Washington can keep it close or keep a lead, can they make free throws in this game when they have to?
Bynes on the take all the way to the baseline, and a foul by Smith. The senior from Toronto, Ontario, flushes one home on the offensive glass. But unfortunately, I think they tagged him with a technical for hanging onto the rim on the end of that play.
Watch Smith come in. Ball comes off. Great follow-up, rebound, and dunk. And yeah, he hung on the rim for a little bit, but good grief. Now, okay, I'm going to come at it from the player's perspective. I mean, you don't want to insert yourself as the official in a game that's going to cause something different to happen. And you know, that's one where you kind of warn the kid in a timeout or a situation, dead ball. Don't give the other team an opportunity to score. Maybe it's a technical violation of the rule, but come on, let's get above the technical violations.
That was the 4th offensive rebound by Smith to give him 4 points now on the day, but it turns into a wash as Kevin Dillard, the best free throw shooter in the conference, knocks down both of the technicals. And Coach Lonergan again, kind of a look of grimace on his face. He knows what's on the line here today. And Dayton will get the basketball and a 4-point cushion 9 minutes into our first half. Boy, Vines has been all over Kevin Dillard here in the early going. Now Dillard gets it back. And an illegal screen. Boy, Robinson was moving all over the place that time. And now Jalen Robinson with a foul, and the bigs are kind of getting a little foul trouble here for Dayton.
Yeah, and you saw George Washington. I saw more energy from them on the defensive end. Watch this foul, Jalen Robinson moving around. Yeah, you can't do that. I mean, you can't set the screen by moving like that, like you're in football, setting a block. But I see more energy out of George Washington after that dunk and technical. Maybe that's going to give them a little bit more energy on the defensive end and close down some of those passing lanes.
Smith will step out this time. It rattled out. And the rebound will come off for Jalen Robinson. Sanford in transition, slowed down defensively by the Colonials. And that's tipped out of bounds by Garino.
Another example of that energy is seeing George Washington. Now they're starting to get into passing lanes like Dayton's doing to them on the other end. Maybe that technical foul got everybody a little annoyed.
Dillard got free along the baseline, got it up and in, and will go to the line. He plays under such control, Tony, and you can see on that take a little off balance, but still had the strength to get it up there.
Well, that's how you beat good, aggressive defense. One-on-one, just I'm better than your defense, able to go baseline as Kevin Dillard, come back in, great body control. Once he felt the contact, then he let it go and able to get it up into the rim.
And kind of a big foul there as Isaiah Armwood collects his second foul. So the top player, perhaps for George Washington, will have to play a little more careful as Dillard will make it a three-point play. He has now made 38 of his last 39 free throws. Larson now out on top. Garino, quick little touch pass over to Larson. Trying to back in, turns, and Benson's got it. Maybe Larson a little too far out that time on the jump hook.
And the fadeaway. You want to take a jump hook, you want to take it to the rim, not away from the rim. Tough to make that shot fading away.
Benson inside. Boy, did he sneak through two defenders and get it up and in.
Another defensive breakdown by George Washington. Way too easy to get that ball that close to the rim, and nobody really challenging the shooter.
Armwood away from the basket. Now they try and work it in, and again, Jalen Robinson steps around with the tip. Sanford gets to the basket and gets it to go, and a timeout again will be taken by George Washington.
Those are real tough passes to make against a good defensive team like Dayton. The angles are important when you play offense and try and make tough passes, especially into the post. And that time, George Washington tried to force a pass down low. Very tough angle. Dayton is invariably going to be in the right position on defense. It's really hard to sneak a pass like that around them, especially when they're keyed up and playing defense the way they are right now. Really tough. And here you see Dayton with Benson going deep, up over top of two players, way too easy down low. And down the court comes B. Sanford. Layup opportunity again. Just way too much freedom around the rims as Dayton have against this George Washington defense. For a while, George Washington looked like they picked up their defense, but now we're coming back to the same first 8 minutes of this game defense where Dayton really had great opportunities to score in their offense and in transition.
George Washington led this game, Tony, 8-2. It's a 19-2 advantage right now over the last 5.5 minutes for Archie Miller's club, who they just came out a little stagnant. You can do that sometimes on the road, and this hasn't been a great road team this year. 2-9. They had lost 7 in a row before winning at Charlotte, and needing a win on the road today to take care of their own business. All of a sudden, they've amped things up.
Yeesh, 19-2 run. Boy, if you're a George Washington fan, you're hiding your eyes at this point, hoping for somebody to pick it up and turn around. And plus, Isaiah Armwood, the best player for George Washington, 2,000 on the bench.
Under 9 to play here in the first half. George Washington's got to find something offensively. Garino gets to the glass. He missed a couple of those earlier, but Patricio Garino, a freshman from Argentina, although he played his high school ball down in Florida, will get him on the board.
Somebody from George Washington is going to have to step up and make plays on the offensive end and close some dribbling lanes down, because Kevin Dillard is winding his way through this defense way too easily. But on the offensive end, somebody from George Washington, especially with Isaiah Armwood on the bench, is going to have to step up. If George Washington's going to get back in this game, it's going to be because of character, team character. We're going to see a lot about this George Washington team over the next 28 minutes of this game.
Dillard right back to the free throw line where he is so effective. Carter says check back in. B. Sanford, who's been playing on a bum ankle, will check out of the lineup. He played 25 minutes back on Wednesday, did Sanford. This is a team that for a while, they were playing with only 8 scholarship players. Over the course of 8 games, they went only 3-5 in that stretch. They've gotten healthy, and boy, no surprise, they've won 3 in a row and leading here today.
Healthy, and their freshmen have gotten older. They're not freshmen anymore. They're really sophomores playing in a freshman uniform because they've got the experience now. They know how to win.
And that shot off the mark by Croma, but he's going to the free throw line as he got tagged on that foul. It's also 7 fouls now against Dayton, so George Washington will be in the bonus the rest of the half. But as you said, if you don't make them, it doesn't matter.
Got to make free throws if you're George Washington. Just simply have to make free throws, especially down 11 points. You don't have the luxury of missing free throws in that situation.
So Lasan Croma will go to the line, and he misfires on that one, and he's a 69% free throw shooter. Croma coming into today needs 10 to get to 1,000 points in his career here at George Washington. Thus far, he is scoreless on the day. Missed them both.
Good grief. 0 for 4 is George Washington so far from the free throw line in this game. And really, I don't think the 4 have been close.
Right to the basket, Oliver, reverse layup, no. Gorilovic had it swatted away and out of bounds. As Croma got in there and was able to stop the putback attempt by Gorilovic.
Watch penetration by Oliver, goes up, reverse layup chance, doesn't get it. But a great comeback, great block to keep the Gorilovic from having an easy scoring opportunity down low.
Think of Armwood as being the big shot blocker on this GW team. And we're going to get another illegal screen, and that'll be the second foul against Josh Benson, and that will take us to a timeout. 7:57 to play here in half number 1. Dayton with an 11-point advantage on the road.
The smallest moments can have the biggest impact on a child's life. Take time to be a dad today.
Finally, vacation. But I do still have my mom duties. Thankfully, we bought our RV at Tom Raper RVs, the only place with the Customer Plus card. Customer Plus offers a free emergency roadside assistance policy, free service checkups, free camping, and discounts on parts and service. Basically, it gives me peace of mind so I can have some free time with my family.
Tom Raper RVs in Columbus, Cincinnati, and Richmond, Indiana, or online at tomraper.com.
So, same time next week?
Well, of course. Put away a few bucks, feel like $1 million. For free tips to help you save, go to Feed the Pig.
Well, Tony, you would certainly like to be playing today for a chance at a first-round bye in the A-10 tournament, but at least Dayton is playing for something here today. Again, they get a win and they're in, but this group right here, and then you've got George Washington just on the outside. They could finish anywhere from 9 to 12 or out of the competition today.
Yeah, and the key is they need to win. I mean, sure, you can kind of back your way into this if you're Dayton, but that's not how you want to get in the conference tournament. You want to put all doubt to rest, win this game, win it on the road, have a nice trip back to Dayton, and get ready for the A-10 tournament in Brooklyn.
Right now, the Flyers are in a little bit of foul trouble. Pierre, Benson, and Scott all have 2 fouls and still 7:40 to play here in this first half. Smith will make his way into the lane and a pretty take with the left hand for Dwayne Smith.
Nice shot by Dwayne Smith, really in the face of Devin Oliver, all over him, really forcing him to play at a high level on the offensive end and stay strong, and he did that going all the way to the rim with the left hand.
Kari Price with the basketball in his hands for Dayton. Price been giving him great minutes off the bench. Aaron Becker, one of the top 3-point shooters in the conference, takes it to the rack this time. And a good block out on the weak side by Kevin Larson to secure that George Washington rebound.
And Todd, that's how George Washington have to get back in this game. They're not a great 3-point shooting team. In fact, they're a bad 3-point shooting team. So they're not going to be able to make it up easily with 3-pointers. They have to play tough defense and make shots on the offensive end.
And they've had no trouble getting to the rim. It's been finishing when they get there. Dillard on the fly hits the front of the rim. And Larson will grab the rebound again.
And another key part of that formula for George Washington has to be defensive rebounds. You can't give Dayton offensive rebounds. You got to play solid defense, rebound the missed shot, and then come down, run your offense, and get the good 2-point shot. That's a tough formula, but it's done. It can be done.
Again in the paint, Chroma this time using the glass. Back-to-back buckets by George Washington. They're within 7.
I didn't hear Chroma call bank. That should count for 1.5 points instead of 2 points.
Well, Patricio Guarino, first off, gets called for the foul. And Mike Lonergan, the head coach of George Washington, a mere milliseconds later got banged for a technical. There are a couple of times they've had to wave him off. And that time he was right next to Tony Crisp, and he teed him right up. And a big swing right now because Tony George Washington had gotten a little bit of momentum.
They had, and you know, in a situation like this, I understand where the coaches are coming from. They want to see these players decide this game, and so far we have 17 personal fouls in the first 14 minutes of this game, under 14 minutes of this game, and that's a lot.
So Kevin Dillard, best in the A-10. Swishes home 2 more. And George Washington over the limit. So Darren Becker will go to the line for a 1-and-1.
Potential 4-point possession for Dayton. George Washington was starting to climb its way back a little bit. Boy, a 4-point possession can really take the wind out of your sails.
Darren Becker, a 69% free throw shooter. Started his collegiate career for the Tigers down in Louisiana State. He's from Louisiana. One of the top players in Louisiana basketball a couple of years ago. That free throw was missed. You saw the sheer numbers of free throws taken by Dayton compared to George Washington here in this first half. So that turns into a 3-point possession for the Flyers. Smith from 15. Robinson laid off, didn't get called for going over the back as Larson grabbed the offensive rebound.
Reset your offense if you're George Washington. Be patient. Don't try and get a 10-point possession. Just try and get good looks and make it when you have a chance to make a layup. George Washington unable to make layups all day so far.
Darren Becker inside to Oliver. Way too much on that. And it goes out of bounds. I'll tell you, and you could see on that last possession as they brought Brian Vines out, Coach Lonergan was waving everybody. They wanted to go to that 1-4. They know they can get to the rim against this Dayton team today. They've proven it. They just can't finish.
They can't simply finish. They can't put the ball in the hoop. But you know what? You still got 35-plus minutes, 25-plus minutes to prove that you can make those layups. If you're George Washington, it's good that you're getting those opportunities. Now you just got to finish.
And Dillard gets his hands on that one. He'll move in against Smith, who blocked it up against the glass, but will get called for the foul. And that'll be 2 more free throws now for Kevin Dillard.
Turnovers, leading to easy scoring chances. You can almost put that one in the books. Kevin Dillard's either going to score that or draw the foul. He is too good in transition to let his shot get blocked without the foul.
Second foul as Dillard misses a free throw, and that stops a string of 26 consecutive free throws that he had made. And that foul, by the way, the second on Dwayne Smith. So Dillard will try and split the pair. And for Kevin Dillard, Tony, that is now 16 points in 15 minutes of basketball here in the first half.
We talked about big players have to step up in big games, and Kevin Dillard being the best player for Dayton. Boy, I think he showed up.
And the Dayton lead is back out to 11. Here's a strong take, but again, Chroma can't get it to go in. And they've got to feel snake bitten down there.
And this, for George Washington, those are its 3-point shots. They're not going to shoot the ball from the 3-point line, coming in only making 3 3-pointers a game, which is minuscule in college basketball this day. When George Washington gets 3-point opportunities, it's by taking the ball to the rim and getting fouled and then trying to go that line and hitting those free throws. They've got to start capitalizing on those 3-point opportunities. I'll tell you, though, for George Washington, they have not played well in this first half. To be down by 9 points, there's a little bit of sunshine in their poor performance so far in the first half.
That is their first 2 free throw makes on the day. They are now 2 out of 6. Here is Sanford again on the take, followed by Robinson, won't go in. And Larson, who's grabbed just about every rebound for George Washington as of late, has another, turns into a 3-point attempt. That's good for Brian Vines. And finally, some life here in the Smith Center at GW.
Give George Washington credit, not playing well. 2 technical fouls already in this game, and they are down 6 points. Sticking around, Dayton not able to put a team away when seemingly Dayton had George Washington on the mat. George Washington up and fighting now.
But they get Robinson free underneath. That comes right back at him on the block by Chroma. And then a Dayton foul.
Underneath pass. Robinson goes up and gets it blocked right away. Good rebound then by George Washington, and Devin Oliver coming over the top with the foul. Momentum has shifted here. You can feel it. George Washington now believes.
And John Capriva only averages just over a point a game, and a 59% free throw shooter gets them both. And it's a 4-point basketball game.
Todd, this game would be tied without those technicals, and I can't believe that. Dayton has played so much better than George Washington. I almost want to go back and look at the film from the first half and wonder how the heck George Washington's only down 4.
7 straight by George Washington after the 3 missed by Dillard. Chroma looking to the bench. Has the call. Again, they just go 1-4 low. Chroma right to the basket. Again, he can't finish. Got his own rebound. Stood up on the block, and they'll kick it back out to Bynes.
Clearly, George Washington saying they want to take one-on-one. They want to get somebody up top with a screen from a big guy and then go take the ball to the rim.
This time, Larson will get it to roll in. Second chance points for George Washington. They trail by 2.
And Dayton back on its heels. You can see it in the face of these kids. They're taking some punches from George Washington, and they're not sure how to respond to it right now.
Oliver, they run at him again. Bounces to Robinson. And Jalen Robinson will stop the run.
The freshman learned the last time he went up for a layup, he got it smacked right back in his face. This time he's taking it up with 2 hands, and he's going to put it down hard.
Larson steps away, goes cross court in the corner, and McDonald buries a 3. What a pass by Larson, cross court, good vision. They've knocked down 2 threes in a row.
Great pass to set up the open shooter, but Joe McDonald stepping up and hitting a 3. Again, this is something that George Washington has not done well all year. And to make those 2 threes, he has to give him a great boost of confidence.
Sanford penetrates, gets to the rim, and it rolls in for V. Sanford. That was a big boy move for V. Sanford right there.
Power move, just putting the ball on the ground and going up, floating through the air until he had the opportunity.
And a foul on Devin Oliver as we go to break. George Washington making a game of it, getting some help from Kevin Larson. George Washington back to within 3.
All season long, watch new faces, new rivalries, and new chances at victory emerge. Every tournament, every week, one champion will rise. Watch the PGA Tour all season long on Golf Channel.
World's out here, pal.
Yeah, I'm just setting my DVR to record Shameless. It's cool. I can do it from anywhere.
Want to have some fun?
Yeah, Frank. I can even set it from here.
Time Warner Cable puts Showtime on your time. Set your DVR from any device.
I can set it from here, too.
Let it go! Down!
Anywhere.
Probably can't set it from here.
Nope.
Whatever you're passionate about, Time Warner Cable invents better ways to love it even more. Time Warner Cable. Enjoy better.
Get ready for a 4-day weekend of college hoops action. The 2013 Buick Atlantic 10 Men's Basketball Championships is heading to Barclays Center. Don't miss the excitement from March 14th through the 17th. Get the best seats and the best deals now. Single session tickets start at just $25, or purchase all session tickets starting at $125 to see all 12 games. Atlantic 10 tickets now on sale at the American Express box office at Barclays Center or Ticketmaster.com.
Well, George Washington trailing by 3 last 2 minutes of our first half of play. You see the offensive rebound numbers right now, leading to second chance points, and also getting the ball to go in the hoop has helped for George Washington.
No doubt, but the offensive rebounds have been a big key. Some of these shots you're seeing George Washington making have been second chance opportunities where they missed their initial shot, but then get the opportunity to get another shot at the rim, and they're making those. So, George Washington might only be shooting 39% from the floor, 17 missed shots, but 10 offensive rebounds are just huge because it allows a poor shooting team to make up for that poor shooting by getting more opportunities, more offensive possessions.
And a 28% three-point shooting team is at 2 out of 5 here in this first half, including their last 2. And John Capriva at the free throw line. So he misfired on the first one. Sophomore out of Milwaukee hits the back of the rim with a second. And Devin Oliver, no second chance that time for George Washington, grabs the defensive board. So it remains a 3-point lead. But here's the steal. Garino to the rack, will lay it up, and it falls off. Offensive rebound, putback is good by Chroma. Oliver in the lane for Sanford. Head fake, then got it up and in.
Boy, helter-skelter for Dayton coming down the court in the transition after the Garino missed layup, but putback. Dayton really pushed in transition. GW did a good job initially, but unable to prevent the layup.
Offensive putback by Larson. I've never seen somebody miss shots in around the rim like we've had today for George Washington.
A lot, but George Washington has been able to make up for those by these offensive rebounds. Just offensive rebound after offensive rebound. Both these teams came in as top 4 teams in rebounding in the conference. And George Washington, at least, is showing you why.
Dillard makes a move. Garino sends it out of bounds.
Kevin Dillard winding his way through. You've seen him have success doing that today, but this time Garino from behind, able to use his height advantage to prevent Kevin Dillard from getting that ball anywhere above his shoulders.
This is a team that has blocked 140 shots this year, 3 today. Robinson gets free. There's number 4 as Dwayne Smith sends it back to Jalen Robinson. And George Washington in the last minute of this first half has an opportunity to take the lead.
And who'd have thumped that about 5 or 6 minutes ago? George Washington was really on a respirator. Not looking very confident, not able to make shots, and their best player on the bench in Isaiah Armwood. They've done this without Isaiah Armwood in this game. You've got to give George Washington a tremendous amount of credit for fighting and clawing and scratching their way back in this game. And I think you also have to say that this Dayton team, with the foul trouble they've experienced and with their regulars, some of their regulars on the bench, they have not reacted well to the pressure that George Washington has brought.
That free throw will tie it. Darren Becker back into the Dayton lineup, and Devin Oliver, Tony, has to sit down with 3 fouls. Both these teams in some foul trouble here in the first half with all that we've had called. Priva will check in if Smith can make this free throw. We remain tied as Jalen Robinson will grab the Dayton rebound. Shot clock and game clock are virtually synced up, so Dayton can hold for the last shot.
This is an important possession to set the tone for the second half. Is it going to be a Dayton score, or is it going to be a George Washington stop? This is going to be important for these teams mentally. Coming out of the halftime locker room, who's going to have the edge?
Last shot. Dillard's got the ball in his hands. What can he make happen? Down the lane. Dish over, but it's going to be too late. That will not count. It came well after the buzzer, and that will end. Well, no, hold on. It's going to be a shot clock violation. Remember, I said they were virtually in sync. And so they put 1 second back on. So George Washington with an opportunity to prayer here. Caught, thrown up, and just short. That's a pretty good effort with 1 second to go.
That is very good effort. Getting that close to the shots and putting it in. Error by Dayton, but I'll tell you, great opportunity for George Washington to set the tone for the second half. Tremendous defensive stop, shot clock violation. That's the way you want to go in the halftime. It's all square.
George Washington ends the first half on a 17-6 run. We are tied at halftime. Atlantic 10 basketball here on Time Warner Cable Sports Channel.
You're watching Time Warner Cable. Enjoy better.
If you're a Time Warner Cable customer, one of the reasons you signed up for a cable bundle is because it's convenient. Well, so is My Services. Click on My Services at TimeWarnerCable.com. Check out TV listings, program your DVR online, even send your voicemail or your email. It costs nothing, and it saves time. My name is Mark, and I am Time Warner Cable.
On Mondays, look at this, all new episodes of American Pickers. The show critics call highly amusing. That seemed pretty easy. ABC News calls it a huge hit. Boom. Mike and Frank are junk finders America has come to know and love.
Thank you.
America's trash is TV's treasure, says USA Today.
That's what I was hoping to hear.
The good stuff's still out there. We're going to find it.
Don't miss all new episodes of American Pickers, Mondays at 9 on History Made Every Day.
Did you know? Now, with Time Warner Cable, you can catch up on your favorite shows on demand whenever you want for free. So whatever you're into, you won't miss a thing. Did you also know each year Americans eat enough popcorn to fill the Empire State Building 18 times? Should be enough to cover your shows. It's better to know. Whatever you're passionate about, Time Warner Cable invents better ways to love it even more. Time Warner Cable. Enjoy better.
G-Morning, sunshine. Wakey, wakey. Text me. Are your parents home later? We can hang. LUV, love you. JK. Holla back. Holla back. Holla back. Are you with your friends? That's lame. We're in a huge fight right now. XO. What'd you dream about? Something I did. Are you on your way to the mall? I'm lonely. Nude pics. Send me some. Text me.
Halftime at the Charles E. Smith Center in Washington, D.C. And George Washington and Dayton are all knotted up at 33. Telecast of this game is authorized by CBS Sports Network. Any rebroadcast, retransmission, or other use of any image, sound, account, or description of this game without the express written consent of CBS Sports Network is strictly prohibited. We'll be back to D.C. right after this timeout. Tie game at half, 33-all, George Washington, Dayton on Time Warner Cable Sports Channel.
College is more than just a collection of courses. For us, it's a single course, a journey, and it's one we travel together. We are the University of Dayton.
Get ready for a 4-day weekend of college hoops action. The 2013 Buick Atlantic 10 Men's Basketball Championships is heading to Barclays Center. Don't miss the excitement from March 14th through the 17th. Get the best seats and the best deals now. Single session tickets start at just $25, or purchase all session tickets starting at $125 to see all 12 games. Atlantic 10 tickets now on sale at the American Express box office at Barclays Center or Ticketmaster.com.
Halftime, great game. George Washington and Dayton are all tied up here today in Washington, D.C. Well, while many college student athletes struggle with the delicate balance of school and sport, one softball player has found the time and energy to build a team of her own.
I chose Dayton because it's a school based on faith and community, which are two big things in my life. And also when I came to visit, I just really felt at home. Everyone was really sweet and nice, and being from the South, that's really what I look forward to. The school itself is just beautiful, and I fell in love with it when I walked on campus. Being vice president of the Student Athlete Advisory Committee, I was in charge of the community service for October. Knowing that our strength coach's wife was affected by breast cancer made me decide that this was the perfect event for us.
Jordan really took the idea from start to finish. She approached the group with the idea, and her enthusiasm was contagious to the rest of the group for the Making Strides walk. We really just provided a sounding board, but she really was the driving force behind the event. The values that we try to stress in our young student athletes are leadership and community service. So this Making Strides walk really embodies what we stand for. While a lot of our student athletes may not have known Kelly Owens, they knew Joe Owens and were able to see how her diagnosis was affecting him as well. They were able to relate to the cause of breast cancer awareness. It was great for our student athletes to be able to rally around Joe and Kelly and walk for support of them.
Team Owens included the 150 members that walked at this event, student athletes, coaches, and staff members. We named it Team Owens so that Kelly knew how much support she had behind her, as well as all the money that was raised for the American Cancer Society could be donated in her name.
Once we decided to move forward with the breast cancer walk, Jordan actually took it upon herself to set up a page for the University of Dayton Athletics on the American Cancer Society website. She really just kind of hit the streets and took it from start to finish. It was certainly a challenge in the fall as we have several of our sports teams competing, but we were able to get a large group to represent UD.
Volunteering and doing community service work strengthens the camaraderie between student athletes, coaches, and even just the city of Dayton to show how supportive we are of each other. We're making this an annual event because Kelly Owens felt so touched. She came to athletics and asked if this could be a new tradition at the University of Dayton.
I can't say enough great things about Jordan Jennings. She's truly an inspiration to me, to her teammates on the softball team, to all of our student athletes here at Dayton. Her hard work and commitment to everything she does, she's going to accomplish great things in her future.
After graduation, I plan on going to dentistry school and then eventually becoming a dentist.
In October of 2012, through the efforts of Jordan Jennings, Team Owens raised over $1,300 for the American Cancer Society, and they hope for this to become an annual event. They have a goal to reach $5,000 this year for Team Owens. Deadlocked at halftime, George Washington and Dayton. Tony and I back to the Smith Center with highlights of first half stats after this.
Winter is a great time to get out and enjoy the outdoors, but before you hit the road, remember, winter storms can be deadly. Hi, I'm meteorologist Adam Berg from the Weather Channel. Every year, winter travelers get caught in storms and sometimes trapped in their cars. This year, don't leave home without a winter storm survival kit in your car. Blankets, flashlights, cell phone charger, and more. Visit us online for a set of resources to help protect you and your family before cold weather comes in. And be ready, weather or not.
Know what?
What?
Since I got adopted, I've learned a lot about these humans.
I know. I mean, check out these two. It's Flirt City over here.
Yeah, I noticed that. It looks like my human is definitely into your human.
Oh, look! I think she's getting his number.
Nice.
Your human's got some sweet moves.
Takes after his dog. Oh, look, they're doing that thing where they put their arms around each other.
She kicked up a leg. It's like in the movies.
That's awesome. Looks like we're going to be hanging out a little bit more.
When we first heard about Time Warner Cable's TWC TV app, we thought, wow, now fans can have Kate del Castillo in 3 sizes. In the beginning, it's like they were the same person. Until they start sharing the same person.
You little...
And things get a bit out of control.
Kate! Ow!
But miracle, they arrived, and everything went back to normal.
Enjoy your favorite stars in every size and on every device at home with the TWC TV app. Time Warner Cable. Enjoy better.
How was your day, Heather?
halftime here at George Washington, and the Colonials were down big, rallied, tied the ball game up. We are all knotted up at 33 apiece here, along with Tony White. This is Todd Bell. What an ebb and flow in that first half. You say basketball is a game of runs. Certainly had that. It was 8-2 George Washington. Big run by Dayton, and then the nice rally by George Washington at the end of the first half.
Well, the way this game opened up, Dayton had a great opportunity to kind of take a lot of the mystery out of it from the very start, because George Washington was not playing at the top of their game, and Dayton was getting a lot of opportunities to shoot the ball and get to the rim. Unable to do that, because by the time the half ended, it was George Washington that had set the tone and was really taking it to Dayton. And it's going to be interesting to see which of these teams, which versions of these teams show up in the second half.
Kevin Dillard got Dayton's offense going. He had 16 points in the first half. We see some of his work, Tony.
Some of those shots came on wide open three-point shots early in the half. But a lot of the time, when he gets those shots, he's going to make them. A lot of the times, though, Kevin Dillard had to make his own shot, taking it to the rim, creating chances around the rim with his great athleticism and his ball handling skills. And for George Washington, their points came on turnovers, on transition, and on offensive rebounds. Guarino misses a layup here, but second chance points for George Washington were huge in the first half. If they had not been playing well on the offensive glass, George Washington would be nowhere near tied in this game. Their second chance points, nearly a third of George Washington's total points off second chance points on 12 offensive rebounds.
Yeah, you see that 21 total, 12 of the offensive rebounds. Points off turnovers are interesting as well for George Washington, as Dayton had 9 turnovers in that first half of play. That's something we talked about. They don't value the ball sometimes.
Yeah, Dayton with 9 turnovers in the first half, way too many. They're averaging normally about 15, and that's too many of itself. Right now, Dayton looking to have 18 turnovers in this game. You got to take care of the basketball if you want to beat George Washington in a game on the road on their senior night when both teams have to win.
Look at Dayton. They did not shoot the ball well down the stretch as well. 33 all. Should be an interesting second half. We're back with it right after this timeout.
When you throw away money on wasted electricity, you're throwing away everything you could have bought with it. Saving energy saves you money. Learn more at EnergySavers.gov.
You're watching Time Warner Cable. Enjoy better.
Missed the beginning of your favorite show? Or maybe you missed the whole thing? Not a problem, because there's one button on your remote that makes catching up simple. The select button. Press it and you can go back in time with Start Over, look back, and on-demand options for the channel you're watching. You can even jump directly to the HD version of your channel. I'm Maddie. I'm making it easier to catch up. I am Time Warner Cable.
Every Tuesday,
I came here to buy a locker today, not to watch Barry be a schmuck.
the camaraderie is back.
Daryl's so dumb. He puts the D in dumb.
The respect is back.
Jared needs to suck it up.
The humility is back.
Tonight I'm gonna be sleeping going, money, 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 money.
Okay, that's a crock.
Yeah.
But all new episodes are definitely back.
Now we're back in the game. Bam! This is my biggest hit ever.
Storage Wars. New episodes are back. Tuesdays at 9 on A&E.
Finally, vacation. But I do still have my mom duties. Thankfully, we bought our RV at Tom Raper RVs, the only place with the Customer Plus card. Customer Plus offers a free emergency roadside assistance policy, free service checkups, free camping, and discounts on parts and service. Basically, it gives me peace of mind so I can have some free time with my family.
Tom Raper RVs in Columbus, Cincinnati, and Richmond, Indiana, or online at tomraper.com.
Tie score 33-all. Dayton and George Washington as we get ready to start our second half here today. Leading scorers in today's game, you see Dillard with those 16. Tony, they kind of came in a 10-minute stretch in the middle of the first half. He didn't score last 5. They got some of their balance, and they need that. They need a little more balance here in the second half.
Yeah, great first half by Kevin Dillard. 16 points from your best player. That's what you want your best player to do. But at the same time, you want for Dayton, if you want everybody else to pick it up, because that's how you won this so far in this last 3 games. Balanced attack, and they haven't had that so far.
And you see Dwayne Smith leading the way there, and that's 5 bonus points out of Brian Bynes, who nobody expected to play today, coming back from a fracture of his tibia, giving it a go today on senior day. And he really haven't seen any effects of that injury out of Bynes. Those are the 2 seniors right there. You saw Smith and Bynes separating. It'll be Dayton basketball to start the second half of play. And the half will begin with Devin Scott. Foul trouble is one thing we didn't talk about here at halftime. Dayton's in a little foul trouble right now, Tony.
They are. They're going to have to play aggressive, but smart aggressive. You can't go out there and get 3rd or 4th fouls quickly in this game.
Sean Pierre, who was literally invisible in that first half, will start by scoring the first 2 of half number 2 for the Flyers.
That ball almost hit one of the flags in the rafters. It was so high.
Dayton back in front. See if this game settles down. More of a back and forth and trading of buckets, unlike what we saw in the first half. Working down low is Armwood. He misfired. Offensive rebound for Bynes, and he'll go to the free throw line. Isaiah Armwood, Tony, only played 9 minutes in that first half because he was in foul trouble.
That's a strong start offensively for George Washington. Get the ball down to Isaiah Armwood twice. Yeah, he missed that shot. Yeah, it was an air ball. But you got to get Isaiah Armwood into this game. He's been sitting on the bench for so long with foul trouble. You need to get him in the game. So great strategy to get him 2 touches. And even when he misses it, you get an offensive rebound. Exactly the formula in the first half that brought GW back to the point of tying the game at halftime. It starts again in the second half. So, you know, that's the way. If you're George Washington, more offensive rebounds and let Isaiah Armwood get back in the flow is the right way to approach this.
That was the first half in a nutshell. Offensive rebound and missed free throws.
Right.
They were 5 of 12 from the line in the first half. Pierre tried to dump to Benson, and it's out of bounds. It's going over to George Washington.
George Washington taking chances in passing lanes, trying to stretch it out and see if they can get opportunities, but bad call by the official. That ball went off of Dayton, went off of George Washington. Should be Dayton's basketball, so a little bit of a gift for George Washington. Let's see if they can take advantage of it.
Armwood slides through, and it blocked from behind by Devin Scott, but he'll get called for the foul.
Well, we know the strategy for George Washington coming out of the halftime locker room, and that is to get the ball in Isaiah Armwood's hands. He's their best player, so you better get it back down there. You see what Kevin Dillard has done for Dayton in the first half with 16 points. George Washington saying we need to get our best player on track to try and match some of those points. So Isaiah Armwood, you can expect him to get the ball a lot. Plus, you've got a lot of Dayton big guys in foul trouble. When you have an active guy like Isaiah Armwood down low, he can create more foul opportunities and get those Dayton guys back on the bench, like you see Devin Scott heading to the bench right now.
Scott only played 3 minutes in the first half in foul trouble, and immediately he is replaced by Jalen Robinson. Robinson played 13 minutes of the first half. Armwood's second free throw will give GW the lead back. That is their first lead, Tony, since it was 8-7.
It has been a long climb back for George Washington. You know what? A lot of people in this gym probably didn't expect them to be in this situation, but you got to give them credit. Intestinal fortitude, getting back when all the chips were down. It was bleak for a while there, but George Washington fighting and clawing to get back in this game now with the lead.
Kevin Larson picks up that foul, his second. The intensity is amping up as Archie Miller, the head coach of the Flyers, as that foul was being called. Oh, and now another offensive foul will go against Dayton as Josh Benson will get called for an illegal screen. That is the third one of those today against the Flyers.
That is a boatload. I think if you're Dayton, you've got to realize these officials are calling it tight when you're setting screens. You've got to really plant your feet on the offensive end and not move when you're setting screens. Even if it gives you a little bit of a disadvantage, you can't give those opportunities up.
And it's Dillard getting called for a little tight foul.
Watch Kevin Dillard playing defense. Grabbed his arm going by.
Poked away by Robinson, and B. Sanford on his knees will turn and flip to Dillard. Boy, Robinson's post defense today has been very good.
Yeah, he's been strong down low.
I think there was a shot clock issue there. They didn't get it reset in time.
Well, we're starting off with the fouls right where we left off in the first half. We haven't even hit 2 minutes yet in this game, in the second half. 5 fouls already in the second half on both teams combined.
Sanford around the lane, had it blocked. That is the 5th block shot of the day for George Washington. Armwood from 2. Toe on the line as Armwood steps out.
Isaiah Armwood showing some range, saying, I'm not just a block player, I'll make those jump shots.
And to show you how rare that is, he only has 2 threes. Again, it wasn't a 3, but ordinarily he's not standing out around that 3-point line. Sanford takes it and will get fouled on his way to the rim.
B. Sanford just going straight to the rim, waiting for somebody to stop him. Nobody did. Boy. Tight call there. Normally you do a little more contact when you're shooting the ball and you get the foul called.
I was kind of curious. Armwood didn't really step in there to take a charge. He was just kind of drifting in the area. Like he was in between trying to block it or take a charge, and they tried to get out of the way and get called.
I think those 2 fouls,
and now
that
3.
that he had coming into this half caused him to be a little more tentative. I think Isaiah Armwood, not in foul trouble, would have been much more aggressive there. You saw him play kind of halfway, wasn't sure whether he should step in and try and take the charge or do something else, and that led to V. Sanford getting 2 free throw opportunities. But these players, you just got to realize these officials are calling it tight. And you've got to adjust your game to play for that.
Larson had a nice first half. Distributes. This time Chroma steps inside the arc. And Benson the rebound for Dayton. Here comes Dillard in transition. Lob to Benson! They did that on Wednesday night. And Dillard to Benson, who flushes it home. And Dayton back in front.
Great vision by Kevin Dillard, just throwing up there. Saw Benson breaking free. It was only a split second, but all you got to do is throw it up to the rim. And somebody like Benson, with his athletic ability, he'll go fetch it for you.
Dwayne Smith spins around, fighting for his own, and went off the back of Larson and out of bounds.
That time Benson, excellent job on the defensive end. With his move down low, Benson not giving Dwayne Smith any free opportunity to look at that rim. Really a tough shot over top with a guy with long arms like Benson who can really jump.
Sanford off the high screen. Now Dillard. Sanford again on the take. Fake from the foul line. Got tagged on the arm, and the bucket will count.
Todd, you really sense Dayton picking up their game right now, taking the game to the next level, really sensing that this is an important stretch of the second half. And the question is, can George Washington answer? V. Sanford with a nice little move down low, slapped on the arm going up. He maintains his strength, and the ball bounces in. But you can see Dayton has picked it up. Can George Washington answer in time to keep this game competitive?
7 straight now by the Flyers. So I guess we're going to stay with the theme of runs as we had in the first half. Boy, Chroma and McDonald collide with each other on the handoff. Larson down low, swiped away again by Oliver. Dillard under control, although he throws it away here. McDonald tippy-toes his way and stays in bounds. Where you can see, Tony, they are a different team when Armwood is not on the floor, and that's an offensive foul that'll get called on Patricio Garino, and that will take us to a timeout. Kevin Dillard is closing in on the all-time assist record at Dayton. Tack on one more here as Benson flushes it home. Flyers lead by 4.
This is something new. Verizon Wireless is teaming up with Time Warner Cable. So sign up to get Time Warner Cable and Verizon Wireless, plus a great offer. Call 888-535-0187 to sign up, and you'll get up to a $200 prepaid card by mail. Time Warner Cable and Verizon Wireless. TV, internet, home phone, and wireless.
College is more than just a collection of courses. For us, it's a single course, a journey, and it's one we travel together. We are the University of Dayton.
When I first started coaching the robotics team, honestly, my expectations weren't that high. Not only did they make a working robot, it scored points, it drove around. It was so much more than I ever thought it could be. Being a super connector is more than just making sure they do science or math. It's about opening a door to a whole new world of opportunities. Join Time Warner Cable and me in connecting young people with opportunities in math and science. Visit connectamillionminds.com and take the pledge.
Final home game for a duo today for George Washington as Brian Bynes and Dwayne Smith, the two seniors. Smith from Toronto and Bynes from Fort Lauderdale, honored prior to the game today. And both of them getting the start after they had been coming off the bench for most of the season. And trying to close it out with a win here today and hopefully extend their careers by at least one more game.
Senior day, senior night, always a special time for the home team. Always a tough event for the traveling team to come in and win on those types of games because there's so much emotion in the gym, so much emotion surrounding each of the teams.
Dayton basketball coming out of the timeout. You see what they have done over the last 2 minutes to extend this lead out to 4 points again. This time Pierre into the lane will get it to drop. Sean Pierre shooting 73% over their last 3 wins. When he gets in close like that, he's going to finish almost every time.
So far, George Washington not able to respond to the increased tempo and pressure and attack of Dayton. I think it's almost time to see Isaiah Armwood get back in this basketball game.
I was going to ask you, before that foul by Garino, I'd mentioned how they don't look like the same team that had started the first 4 minutes of the second half when he was on the floor.
Yeah, I think Isaiah Armwood needs to be back in this game here pretty quickly because this game can get away from you real quick. If you're George Washington, you're not able to score some points, and Dayton keeps playing at the high level they are on the offensive end.
Another 3 ball and swish home another one. Joe McDonald from down in the corner. Quickly back the other way, though. Oliver gets to the bucket, and Capriva will foul him.
A little celebration time for George Washington after they make that 3-point jump shot. Everybody kind of happy with themselves, kind of drifting down the court, not figuring Dayton to be coming at you aggressively in transition. Well, Dayton came after you, got it to Devin Oliver leading. Boy, Devin Oliver runs the court real well for a forward, and he showed there that if you're George Washington, you've got to keep track of him at all times because he will burn you back on the transition.
Well, Oliver was a guy they were trying to use in the interior, and then Coach Miller making the change starting Devin Scott in the post and moving Oliver back out to that forward position. He's kind of thrived since then.
It's really paid dividends for Dayton. Not a coincidence they've been so strong offensively with giving that Devin Oliver the opportunity to come off the bench.
There's one back by Robinson, but into the hands of Bynes, and he'll finish as it rolls over the rim.
Second chance opportunities again for GW. That's what brought him back in this game. That's what's going to keep him in this game. And Isaiah Armwood is back in this game with 3 fouls.
Pierre will flip one up and in. One of the top freshmen bidding for that Rookie of the Year honor in the A-10 with a couple of buckets here.
Nobody helping for George Washington that time. You got to get off your man. When you see somebody dribbling to the rim, you got to get off your man and help. It can't be that easy.
And a little bump by Robinson ends up with a McDonald spill on the baseline. That's a couple of quick fouls on Robinson, Tony, and he's got 3 now.
Jalen Robinson moving his feet, little bit of a left-handed chuck. You know, get a little bit of a push. In most games, that's not a foul. In this game, that's a foul every time. The officials are calling this game tight for Jalen Robinson. You got to realize that. You got to keep your hands off the defender.
And they go 3 deep into the post now, and Gavrilovic is going to get called for an arm bar right across Armwood. From our vantage point, that was a relatively easy call.
And that was a way easy call. Gavrilovic just checking like he's in a hockey game.
And Isaiah Armwood will get to the free throw line, as that is now 17 fouls on Dayton with still 13:44 to go in the second half.
I mean, this has not been a physical game, but you've got George Washington in the bonus less than 7 minutes into the second half. Boy, you want to talk about tight. This is the definition of a tightly officiated game.
And both coaches going to maybe have to get a little creative in their rotation right now as well. Armwood got them both. Bynes will check out, and Dwayne Smith will replace him in the lineup. And it's a 3-point Dayton lead.
With Dayton, you got to think Kevin Dillard making a shot here is going to be important. He made shots, plenty in the first half. You got to figure they're going to try and go back to Dillard and let him make another shot. He's got no points so far in the second half after he had 16, and this time throws it away.
And Tony, it was a change in defense by George Washington there that forced the turnover.
Getting more aggressive, getting out, playing that tough defense, challenging passing lanes, looking to trap. Kevin Dillard that time not able to handle that pressure. And again, 16 points in the first half for Kevin Dillard. Nothing so far in nearly 7 minutes in the second half.
And remember, he didn't score the last 5 minutes of the first half as well. 13 turnovers now for Dayton. Mikic is back out there for George Washington again as they have to continue to go deep into their bench. McDonald penetrates, got to the block over top of Dillard, and it's a 1-point Dayton lead.
Strong move by McDonald, going baseline. Dillard did a good job of cutting it off. But McDonald with the reverse pivot going up strong under pressure. Tough shot.
About the defense right here for George Washington, Tony. Looks like a little 1-3-1.
Yep, little switch up, 1-3-1, 4, little trap in the corner. You got to play passing lanes and be active with your hands. Nice job by Smith.
And Oliver gets called for a push, and that's free throws on the other end.
We talked about how important free throw shooting is in any big game. But in a big game where there have been 13 fouls called in less than 8 minutes, free throw shooting could very well decide this game down the stretch.
And that is 4 fouls on Devin Oliver now. And the free throw is good by Smith.
That's a huge blow to Dayton. Devin Oliver does so many good things off the bench for this team. He can morph his way into whatever offense Dayton really needs him to be, shooting the ball from the perimeter, handling the ball, and rebounding the ball. He is such a valuable part of the Dayton offensive attack. Having him with 4 fouls on the bench this early in the second half, that is a big blow. And here comes George Washington again, putting more pressure on Dayton.
Dillard right through that zone and gets to the basket.
Like a hot knife, Kevin Dillard just slicing his way to the rim. I have a feeling you might see George Washington think twice about that defense again.
First points for Dillard is at 3. I think Sanford got a hand on it. And we got a Dayton foul. But that bucket by Dillard, his first points in over 13 minutes.
Important points for Dayton. They really needed to establish some offensive presence. But again, second chance opportunities for George Washington. But here's Dillard just going to the rim and scoring off that layup. The defense, kind of an extended 1-3-1, 1-2-2 zone defense that Dillard was able to exploit the seams.
And the free throw missed by Mikic. And Dayton stays in front by a single point. Pierre along the baseline. Finds B. Sanford, who knocks down a 3.
That's how you beat those junk defense that want to trap in the corner. You reverse the basketball and you drill a three-pointer on the backside. B. Sanford taking his opportunity to square up and make his shot.
Smith down the lane with a left hand pass and shoots it back out. Possession stays alive. On the drive, Armwood will get called for traveling. Intensity is starting to pick up here at the Smith Center. Dayton remains on top by 4 over George Washington. Don't go anywhere.
Here's your check. Oh, you got it. You know, since I got rid of my car, I really enjoy walking.
Okay. God, no.
Getting pulled over for buzz driving could cost you around $10,000 in fines, legal fees, and increased insurance rates.
Oh, you're home early. You live with your mom?
That'll set your game back a few years. Buzzed, busted, and broke. Because buzz driving is drunk driving.
If you can kick it, drive it, putt it, spike it, or dunk it, you'll find it here with Time Warner Cable Sports Pass. Featuring Fox Soccer Plus, Speed 2, plus all the golf and college sports you can handle. For the best in sports at an unbeatable price, call Time Warner Cable today. Passionate about sports? Time Warner Cable invents better ways to love them even more. Time Warner Cable. Enjoy better.
There are donuts, and there are Tim Hortons Cafe and Bake Shop donuts, standing tall on the donut landscape, dwarfing other donuts with their freshness and deliciousness and varietyness. Chocolate dip, honey cruller, sprinkled, jelly-filled, glazed. Stop. All this donut talk is making me thirsty for a delicious, freshly brewed, premium blend Tim Hortons coffee. Right now, when I buy a coffee, I can get any donut for just 49 cents. Oh, the donanity. Am I dreaming or am I in donut heaven? Tim Hortons Cafe and Bake Shop. Great food, amazing prices.
See Dayton with a 4-point lead. Tony, it's no surprise that when Dayton has flourished today, it's when Kevin Dillard's been putting the ball in the basket for them.
For sure, especially in the first half. And a big drought here in the start of the second half, and Dayton trying to figure out how they're going to score points if Kevin Dillard has not been scoring, because with all the foul trouble going on, a lot of people coming in for Dayton playing in combinations they haven't played in so far this season. So now, Kevin Dillard, he's a huge part of Dayton's offensive attack in the last 11-27 of this game, especially with Devin Oliver sitting on the bench.
He had that big first half. He's got just the deuce here in half number 2. 13 minutes you saw was between baskets for him. George Washington staying with his 1-3-1 look as they try to get it inside to Kirilovic. And Dwayne Smith with good post play with a steal.
Good quick feet, good quick hands by Devin Smith.
Now Smith will step out. And the rebound on the offensive glass for Chroma. Hasn't been as noticeable, but George Washington staying active on the missed shots.
Yeah, they've made enough offensive rebounds. This has been a key part of their attack.
Smith flies down the hoop. Good control, and with a left hand will get it to go.
Devin Smith really showing his opportunity here to shine. Dwayne Smith in the last few seconds of this possession able to get the ball up to the rim with his left hand, really making a good shot.
Sanford penetrates, kicks it back out on top. Dillard trying to dump it down low, and again Smith with the defense. Chroma into the wing. Mikic A little strong, and Benson high into the air for Dayton. Now Dillard will fire it cross court as Pierre penetrates down to the corner. A little baseline jumper for Benson is right there. Hit the midway point. Dayton's got a 4-point advantage.
Big guy Benson stepping out and drilling the shot. Was left wide open all alone. Baseline 16-footer, but able to make that shot. Key offensive possession for George Washington. You can't let this game get too far away. George Washington not going to make up a lot of points on many teams too often. You want to stay in contact with George Washington. Same thing for Dayton. They want this to be a tight game.
And with all of the contact that we've had today, Bynes tried to draw the contact by getting Dillard off his feet and will shoot 3. And you see Dillard slow and getting up on one end. On the other, Brian Bynes, who again is playing coming off of a fractured tibia.
Coach Miller for Dayton not happy with that call. Standing on the sidelines asking the officials for some explanation of what that call was.
Bynes will shoot 3. He is a 73% free throw shooter, but they continue to cost themselves at the line. And Jalen Robinson now will replace Gorilovic in the lineup.
Coach Miller still asking for an explanation from the official. He's not getting one.
There you see the foul trouble as he misses 2 of the 3, but Larson on the glass and will go to the line. I don't know how he got that up on the rim. That was some strength out of Kevin Larson right there.
There's a lot of body contact down there, and right now Dayton just getting whipped on the glass. Absolutely whipped on the glass. This is not, I guarantee you, Coach Miller is not happy about this, because rebounding a lot of times is a gut check. Get out there, and who wants it the most? Right now, George Washington wants the rebound the most. They are beating Dayton to the glass.
And after he just checked out, Alex Gorilovic has to come back in because Jalen Robinson just picked up his 4th foul.
18 offensive rebounds by George Washington. That is an absolute boatload.
And this is against a team that is 4th in the conference in rebound margin in Dayton. B. Sanford will grab that one. And it's a 2-point ball game. George Washington has now missed 11 free throws today. Sanford down the right side of the lane. Larson blocks the shot, but will get called for the foul. That'll be 3 now on Kevin Larson.
Watch the drive down low. Body contact, I guess. Again, in this game, that's a foul, because in this game, there is nothing that's not being called. This is a tightly officiated game. And again, the players have to adjust to that. You've got to be much more positional oriented. You've got to understand where you've got to be. You got to help out off your man, because anytime somebody gets to the rim, they're pretty much going to get a foul shot opportunity because the officials are calling this game so tight.
B. Sanford, who started his collegiate career right here in D.C. at Georgetown. Makes the free throw there, having another solid performance today for Archie Miller and the Dayton Flyers, as Dayton stays out on top by 4.
George Washington, Isaiah Armwood probably needs to touch the ball here and have a scoring chance.
A lot of interior contact as Garino was trying to get free, had to come all the way out to get the basketball. They run Mikic off the screen, stumbles his way into the lane, and an offensive foul is going to be called on Nemanja Mikic.
That time Mikic, the ball was almost knocked away. He lost control of it a little bit as he was going to the rim, unable to really control his body movement. Watch Mikic come off, decide he's going to go to the rim. Little defensive contact, got his feet hung up with a Dayton player, and as he did that, he lost his balance and was unable to stop before he plowed over the defender.
And what a great job by Kari Price, who I believe took that charge, who will fire a three that's off the mark. And the rebound for Armwood. But you saw Price step in front of that half circle to make sure that he was able to take that charge, and we get a foul back on the other end.
Yeah, as good as Kari Price was on the defensive end, as bad as he was just now on the offensive end, that was a super deep three that didn't even hit the rim, hit the backside of the glass. You gotta, as a freshman, I get it. This is a tough game for a freshman to come out, especially one who's had an injury and had some time off. But he's got to give Dayton more intelligent minutes than that on the offensive end of the floor.
See the free throw numbers in this game. What's interesting to note, Dayton had attempted 12 free throws, and George Washington was sitting on 4 at one point. So at least the volume of attempts has flipped. But George Washington can't get him to go. Savage is a 75% shooter, and he'll hit the front end.
Get a sense that Dayton is just kind of holding on until they can get its players, all the foul trouble they've had, get their regular players back in and get that rotation back to what it's been in the 3-game win streak.
And again, a shot clock issue is why we have the stoppage, as they will take it down to 31 seconds or 30.
George Washington back again to that 1-3-1 defense, trying to put some pressure on Dayton.
Good hands by Garino. That's why he's one of the top defenders in this conference. Makes a good pass to Bynes, but Benson blocks the shot. Price standing out of bounds. It'll stay with GW.
Nice job by Benson, not giving up on that play and blocking from behind on Bynes.
So Benson will make the block on the other end, preventing an easy 2. George Washington down 3. We'll have the ball when we come back.
World's out here, pal.
Yeah, I'm just setting my DVR to record Shameless. It's cool. I can do it from anywhere.
Want to have some fun?
Yeah, Frank.
I can even set it from here.
Time Warner Cable puts Showtime on your time. Set your DVR from any
I
device.
can set it from here, too.
Gotta go! Anywhere.
Probably can't set it from here.
Nope.
Whatever you're passionate about, Time Warner Cable invents better ways to love it even more. Time Warner Cable. Enjoy better.
On Mondays, look at this, all new episodes of American Pickers, the show critics call highly amusing.
That seemed pretty easy.
ABC News calls it a huge hit.
Boom.
Mike and Frank are junk finders America has come to know and love.
Thank you.
America's trash is TV's treasure, says USA Today.
That's what I was hoping to hear. The good stuff's still out there. We're gonna find it.
Don't miss all new episodes of American Pickers, Mondays at 9 on History Made Every Day.
Dayton by 3 with less than 8 to play here in our second half. Head coach Mike Lonergan, second season here with George Washington. He has had a great college coaching career. He spent 12 seasons at his alma mater at Catholic University before leaving to go to Maryland as an assistant for 1 year. Then took over the Catamounts of Vermont for 6. And now here at George Washington for a couple of seasons, sitting on 399 career wins against just 192 losses, Tony. And he's got one to get to 400 and would love it to be a game that would get them into the Atlantic 10 tournament.
Yeah, great career by Coach Lonergan. I guarantee you he'd trade just about every win he has to get one here tonight. We talked about second chance points for George Washington, how important the offensive rebounds have been. 16 second chance points for George Washington, 0 for Dayton. That is George Washington absolutely whipping up Dayton on the glass. Dayton not accepting the challenge of playing against a good rebounding team like George Washington. Yeah, that's got to be disappointing to Coach Miller. The last 7 minutes and 56 seconds of this game could be decided by which team is able to rebound the basketball more efficiently.
The delay right now is they were checking something on the replay monitor at the scores table. It's a shot clock issue right now, and I think they wanted to go back and look to see if that blocked shot by Benson, if anything had hit the rim. And they're going to leave it, I believe, at 14 seconds, so that's why we had a little bit of a delay. You see head coach Archie Miller, he's getting the explanation right now from our trio of officials, Ray Perrone, Tony Crisp, and Kevin O'Connell.
Todd, Dayton is very fortunate to have a 3-point lead in this game. They've given up 19 offensive rebounds, and they've turned the ball over 17 times in this game, and we still have 8 minutes left to go. Those two stats alone should have Dayton down in this game. They are lucky to be in the lead right now.
And you see Armwood and Benson. I mean, this is some of these guys down low. It's turning into WWE stuff down there. Lob will come out to McDonald. Finds with a shot clock under 10. Gets it to roll in. And it's a 1-point ball game. Boy, for a guy who's coming off a broken leg, he's played pretty well today.
He has big possession. That was for George Washington. They needed to continue the momentum. Now you got another big possession for Dayton. Can they handle this pressure and make the shot? Yes, they can.
How about the effort out of V. Sanford today? When they've needed a secondary score, he has come up huge. 18 in the game for Sanford, 12 here in the second half. Larson. Now Bynes steps back. That's a little strong, maybe a little too much out of Bynes. And Dillard and McDonald get tied up on the rebound. The arrow will stay with GW.
Well, Bynes should have shot the first shot that he had. He was wide open. Nice pass over by Larson. Bynes had the open shot and the look, but decided to hesitate, take a dribble to his left, and then kind of shoot a fadeaway three.
Armwood had to go right through his hands. Deshaun Pierre, and that's a block and a bucket. Strong take by the freshman out of Whitby, Ontario, Canada.
See Deshaun Pierre taking the ball aggressively to the rim, and Garino trying to draw the contact, but moving still slightly as Pierre went up for the layup. Good call by the official.
Pierre misses. He's got 8 all in this half, so he and Sanford, the scoring punch for Dayton here in the second half of play on the road. For the Colonials, every time, Tony, you think they're right back in it, you look up, they're down by 5 or 6 again.
That's been the struggle. They have not been able to put enough of a run together to get into the lead.
Gorilovic will pick up the foul this time. Free throws coming up for George Washington, who again has been their own worst enemy by missing 13 free throws today.
That puts you so far behind the 8 ball when you're playing in a tight game like this. And it's a tightly officiated game too, and you can't make free throws. Boy, that really, really hurts.
Larson will make the first. Son Crow will check back in now for the Colonials. And Larson misses the second. 4-point Dayton lead. And George Washington extends the 1-3-1 zone defense. Sanford down to the corner. Pierre there, a little off the mark. Benson though with the offensive rebound and then traveled with it.
That time Dayton had a second chance opportunity. Their first time trying to put some second chance points on the board, but the travel negates the good offensive rebound by Benson.
And again, activity inside. And if it's Benson, he's gone.
Boy.
I'll correct that. That is his 4th. My mistake.
Still, he's going to be gone for the next few minutes. He's going to sit on the bench with 4 fouls.
And Bynes will get the first. And here comes Devin Oliver, who has 4 fouls as well.
You can see Josh Benson is frustrated by the way this game is being called by the officials, but you know what? Frustration doesn't help you. You got to adjust to it. You've just got to accept the fact that this game is going to be called tight, and you got to make the best of it.
So Benson, Oliver, and Robinson all with 4 fouls right now for Dayton. And only Guarino has 4 fouls for George Washington. Dillard had it poked away and out of bounds. It'll stay with Dayton.
That was close. Hand on it by Chroma. That might have gone off of Kevin Dillard. That was real close to being a turnover.
Evens the one that they missed earlier, maybe?
Maybe, I don't know, but that was real close. Kevin Dillard might have got his hand on it before that ball went out of bounds.
Shot clock at 5. Does Dillard know it? They got to get it off. Off the mark. Offensive rebound by Pierre and another opportunity.
Something you have not seen Dayton get a lot of opportunities. Offensive rebounds. Boy, key times, last 6 minutes of the game.
That's going to be a blocking foul. And I think it's Guarino. And that'll be the end of the day for Patricio Guarino.
Guarino been active all day. Boy, not so sure about that call either. Kind of like some contact. Guarino was certainly in the mix there. He was trying to play good defense, was certainly moving, but that's a tough call.
So they'll use their time here to get the sub in. You see the despair on the face of Patricio Guarino, who only had 2 points on the day. They lose maybe one of their best defenders.
And, for Patricio Guarino, he was in decent position, but with the contact that was made and when the offensive guy falls to the ground, the official has to make a call. There's going to be some call there. And if there's any contact, more likely than not, that's going to be a foul on the defender. It's tough for Guarino because it didn't really look like he was over there, jostling around. It's just like almost incidental contact that led to the offensive guy falling down. That's a tough way to get your 5th foul, but in the end, good call by the official. You've got to call something there. And if there's contact that lead to the offensive guy falling down, that's pretty much going to be a foul on the defender.
And the first 2 second chance points of the day for Dayton will give them a 4-point lead. On the move, McDonald, and another strong take by the freshman from Wharton, Virginia. And a reach in by Larson.
Larson playing the middle of that 1-3-1 zone, trying to disrupt Dayton's offense, which had planned to get it to Devin Oliver. Let him turn and make something happen with his good ball handling skills. Now he'll go to the free throw line.
Tony, this will be the 55th free throw of the day.
Man. That is a lot.
And we've still got just under 5 minutes to go. Missed them both.
Ouch. That's something, from the Dayton side of things, you don't want to see that start to happen. Dayton's usually a pretty decent free throw shooting team. You want to level that advantage they had coming into this game with George Washington being the worst free throw shooting team in the conference.
Larson backing his way in against Oliver, who's got 4 fouls, nothing he can do. And Larson has tied the game with 4.5 to play.
Good move by Larson, but I guarantee you the fact that Oliver had those 4 fouls kept him from doing anything aggressively to stop that move.
Pierre through a lot of traffic, sets up Sanford for 3. And a push off on Dayton. That's going to be the 5th personal foul on Devin Oliver.
That's a huge blow. Devin Oliver, such a key ingredient to this Dayton offense. To lose him, and everybody else has got 4 fouls too. So the big men you have come in for Dayton to replace them are all going to be playing tentative as well, because they're going to have 4 fouls on top of that.
So Isaiah Armwood will go to the free throw line. 10.6 rebounds today. He has been a perfect 4-4 from the free throw line for a team that has struggled mightily. And it rattles out.
This mentally, this free throw is important for GW to take the lead again.
And Deshaun Pierre took that one right out of the sky.
Let's see if that takes any wind out of the George Washington sails and maybe gives Dayton a little bit of a boost. Missing free throws like that opportunity, that is a really tough blow mentally to any team down the stretch.
Benson, same spot he hit one earlier, knocks another one down.
He likes that spot. He's very comfortable right there catching that ball, shooting that baseline jump shot.
Donald, step back, pull up, fires it.
Boy, big shot by Joe McDonald. Showing a lot of character, that young man, taking that shot in the first instance and then making it.
Pierre hangs and gets it to roll.
And then you got Deshaun Pierre showing his freshman accolades, able to take the ball up, strong in transition. Boy, I love it when freshmen want to step up and make key shots in big games.
Big by Smith, stops, knocks it down. This has been the best flow we've had all day, Tony.
Best offense so far. Both teams stepping up and answering the bell on the offensive end and making shots. That's how you win big games. You make shots.
8-10 tournament berths are on the line, and they're playing like it here in the last 4 minutes. Dillard double teamed in trouble, and a foul will be called against the Colonials. Free throws will be coming up for Kevin Dillard when we come back. The last 2:37 of this one, and we are all tied.
Get ready for a 4-day weekend of college hoops action. The 2013 Buick Atlantic 10 Men's Basketball Championships is heading to Barclays Center. Don't miss the excitement from March 14th through the 17th. Get the best seats and the best deals now. Single session tickets start at just $25, or purchase all session tickets starting at $125 to see all 12 games. Atlantic 10 tickets now on sale at the American Express box office at Barclays Center or Ticketmaster.com.
A boy born in Joplin, Missouri was fascinated by anything with wheels and a motor. The odds of him going on to fascinate millions with his talent? 1 in 260,000. The odds of this born racer having 157 career top 10 finishes in NASCAR? 1 in 125 billion. The odds of him winning both the Daytona 500 and the Brickyard 400 in the same year? 1 in 195 million. The odds of a child being diagnosed with autism? 1 in 88. I'm NASCAR driver Jamie McMurray, and my niece has autism. Learn more at autismspeaks.org/signs.
Well, you see the tie score and the time remaining, and when it comes down to games that are this close, Tony, one place I always look is at that free throw line, and boy, both teams could have helped themselves today, but especially George Washington.
No doubt. Dayton's going to have the advantage in the last couple minutes of this game with their free throw shooting ability. George Washington, not a good free throw shooting team, but you know what? Sometimes you got to throw the stats out and just step up and make your shots. You know, these kids know how to shoot free throws, just got to go up there and make them.
And We've talked about the officiating in this game. Whether you've liked it or not, Tony, it has been consistent since the ball went up into the air. They've called it the same way throughout.
No doubt. You got to give the officials credit in that regard. If they're going to call it tight, they're going to start the game calling it tight, and we're 2 minutes left to go in this game. They're still calling it tight, and that's the way you're going to have consistency, one way or the other. Either let it play or call it tight.
And Dillard, now 9 out of 10 from the foul line, 19 points today. That is only his third, you see there, third second half point after the first half that he put together. But he's gotten help from Pierre and Sanford and Benson. That trio has combined for 30 second half points. Dayton back in front now with 2.5 to go. Chroma with a strong take. He's got free throws coming up.
Boy, athletic move by Chroma. Going to the rim, he had to weave his way through traffic with the dribble against a good Dayton team that helps out. Chroma taking it in, weaving his way, jumping through players, drawing the contact.
And that foul is on Josh Benson. And that's number 5 on the senior from Dayton.
They're dropping like flies over there in the red uniforms.
He had a very emotional senior night at UD Arena back on Wednesday night in their win against St. Bonaventure out of Dunbar High School in Dayton. Played 4 years there after having an ACL injury a season ago. 5 years at Dayton, so 9 basketball years spent in Dayton, Ohio. And boy, he was really emotional after the game the other night. And now he fouls out of a game that he'll have no part in the last 2:27 to see whether or not his career will extend to the Barclays Arena in Brooklyn.
Strong career by Josh Benson. This for him, you know, for Dayton and what Dayton basketball has meant. He can stand proud for the contribution he's made to this Flyer program.
5 for 5 for Benson today from the field. He finished with 10 points to go along with 4 rebounds. And back on the other end, Hassan Chroma makes 2 free throws. We're down to 2:20 to play in a tie ball game. Darren Becker back into the lineup now for the Flyers. And George Washington, Tony, has stayed with his 1-3-1 look about the last 10 minutes of the second half.
Really looking to trap in the corner, forcing Dayton to move the ball around and make jump shots.
That kick will reset the shot clock to 15. I mean, they've really only gotten a couple of good looks. Remember, Dillard had the 1 take, Sanford a 3, Benson a couple of baseline shots, but they've had a lot of trouble with it.
This 1-3-1 has really knocked Kevin Dillard off his offensive game. He has not been a large factor here offensively for Dayton in the second half. You wonder if that's going to change in the last 2 minutes.
Sean Pierre with a shot clock under 10 gives to Dillard. He kind of clutched the second time, then fired, and Larson with another rebound. That is his 7th of the ball game, and George Washington can take the lead.
Not a good shot by Kevin Dillard. Long shot, hesitated, wasn't comfortable. Would have been better served to pull that out.
Robinson couldn't handle the rebound. It'll stay with George Washington.
Second chance opportunities. Nobody's going to get the offensive rebound in their personal column on that play, but it'll go as a team offensive rebound for George Washington, which is just as good. Second chance again for George Washington. They have really dominated Dayton on the glass. Their 21st offensive rebound. Wow.
Archie Miller just made a good substitution defensively. Gorilovic is back in there guarding Armwood. They had Darren Becker on him, and it was a terrible mismatch. And now we got a foul on Dillard.
Kevin Dillard aggressively going after that steal. Made body contact against McDonald. In this game, that is a foul every time. The officials are being consistent. They called that foul. They should have called that foul. The way they called this game, you know, up to this point, that's a foul. And they've made the right call. And Kevin Dillard with his 4th, big 4th foul by Kevin Dillard.
And the first time to the foul line for freshman Joe McDonald follows suit with the remainder of his teammates as Dayton will go offense for defense. Darren Becker back in, and Gorilovic will sit down.
Got to make free throws in a big game like this. Got to make free throws.
And the rebound tipped out by Chroma. And another second opportunity now for George Washington.
Or you can miss your free throws and get an offensive rebound, your 22nd of the night.
Bynes, senior, on the take is no good. And Sanford on the rebound. And Bynes, with a grimace on his face, hobbles back the other way to play defense.
That was a huge opportunity for George Washington, standing at the free throw line with 2 free throws to take the lead. Missed both, offensive rebound and a shot within 4 feet, unable to make that. Boy, that you might wonder if they're going to come back and look at that and regret the fact that George Washington wasn't able to take that lead.
And on the take by Deshaun Pierre, he got fouled. You'll see it right here. Boy, Pierre, he does such a great job of getting to the glass.
Not playing like a freshman, Deshaun Pierre. He's wanting the basketball. He wants to take it to the rim and create opportunities for himself, and he's done that.
And Kevin Larson just picked up his 4th foul for George Washington. And Pierre rainbows the free throw in. And checking out Brian Bynes, as the free throw is good. And a timeout will be used by Dayton's Archie Miller as the Flyers are back in front by a pair. And you saw Bynes check out and the way he hobbled coming back. We'll talk about it when we come back. Flyers by a pair.
The first day stepping on the court, I couldn't keep up. That motivated me to step up my game. When I reach a goal, I set a new one the next day. And my next goal is to go to college. Mastering the court takes persistence. So does getting into college. I've got what it takes. So do you.
Finally, vacation. But I do still have my mom duties. Thankfully, we bought our RV at Tom Raper RVs, the only place with the Customer Plus card. Customer Plus offers a free emergency roadside assistance policy, free service checkups, free camping, and discounts on parts and service. Basically, it gives me peace of mind so I can have some free time with my family.
Tom Raper RVs in Columbus, Cincinnati, and Richmond, Indiana, or online at tomraper.com.
The smallest moments can have the biggest impact on a child's life. Take time to be a dad today.
Well, Dayton with a 2-point advantage, last minute of play, and Tony on the line for the Flyers, a chance to get to the A-10 tournament where they have been every year they've been in the conference. It would be their 18th consecutive trip.
You know, and that's a tremendous statistic for Dayton, showing the consistency that this program has had. You know, in the A-10, it got better this year. When you talk about the addition of Butler and VCU, you know, it's more difficult this year to make the conference tournament than it's ever been in the Atlantic 10, and Dayton looking to keep that streak alive.
You see the young Archie Miller patrolling that sideline for the Flyers. All right, if you're George Washington, well, you look here, they're spreading it out here, a little 1-4 high action. Where do you go here offensively?
I wouldn't mind seeing Isaiah Armour with the ball in his hands.
Right down the lane to tie the game. Boy, they knew what they wanted and they got it. Remember early in the game, they had no trouble getting to the rim. And LaShawn Croma with a big tying basket.
Spread the basketball out, let LaShawn Croma go in there and show what he can do with his athletic ability. Strong take by Croma.
And with that take by Croma, it was his 1,000th point of his career. He needed 10 coming into today. And a pretty timely 1,000th point right there for Croma.
Yeah, hard to time that. Entering the 1,000 point club for George Washington. I'm not sure many of those other shots that he's made to get those 1,000 points have been much bigger than that. A tough play, too. Having to weave his way through and underneath the defender. key situation, last 40 seconds of the game, and Chroma ties it up.
44th member of the 1,000-point club. And the Colonials now with 2 timeouts remaining.
Full court pressure by George Washington, looking to see if they can generate a turnover here. Now they back it off a little bit, just trying to keep Kevin Dillard occupied. Well, I have a feeling Kevin Dillard's going to have something important to say about what happens for Dayton on this offensive possession. He is their guy.
Bynes is back out there defensively guarding him. They come out of the zone, back to man-to-man. I think Archie Miller's going to end up calling a timeout. He's right in the ear of the official. Going to let him go. Sanford floats it. No good. Armwood the rebound, and a timeout will be called by George Washington. Boy, Archie Miller had his arm on the shoulder of the official, and I thought for sure he was going to call a timeout. He ended up letting Dillard try and create, and they got a pretty good look out of Sanford, who's made this all day long.
Absolutely. Kevin Dillard kicks it over to V. Sanford. That's a decent shot. Ball rattles around the rim, and Armwood with a great rebound. But Dillard able to reverse the ball with the double team. V. Sanford goes in. That's a good shot. I mean, that's if you're Archie Miller, you cannot be upset with that shot. A great opportunity to drop that shot in the last 5 seconds. But the miss, and Armwood with the key rebound. And now the question is, how much time is George Washington going to get back on this clock? Clock says 1 second, but that's clearly wrong. We saw the clock go down after the timeout had been called. The question is, how much time is going to be left? And will it be enough time for George Washington to get up the court and get a decent look at the rim?
Officiating crew over at the sideline looking right now. If I had to guess, it's going to be in the high 3-point something. So they will get that taken care of over on the sideline. And now, you're George Washington. You've got to go about 3/4 of the length of the floor here. Who do you want the ball? They're going to put 4.4 on. Who do you want the ball in which hands?
Well, I don't think you'd have enough time for a big guy to catch the ball and do something with it. So I think you're looking at somebody from the perimeter. Joe McDonald's made some plays as a freshman. I think, you know, you've got to look at Dwayne Smith, the young man who can square up and make a shot. But Chroma, you know, hey, he just joined the 1,000-point club. Maybe a little karma on his side.
So they put 4.4 back on. That's a lot of time.
Plenty of time.
Getting down the floor.
That is plenty of time to get the ball down the court, both pass and dribble, and get a decent shot. If you're George Washington, you want to get as close to the half-court line as you can, because you can catch it around the half-court line, you're going to get yourself 4.4 seconds, and they get the benefit of being able to take the ball out of bounds on the side.
And the officials have gone back. You saw the reaction there of Mike Lonergan as they went back to the table and looking at the replay again. And this will have both teams come back to their respective benches for the moment. They wanted to look and see where they were going to inbound the basketball. So it's going to be under the basket, not on the sideline. So they've got 4.4. They've clarified where the ball is going to be inbounded.
Well, they were lining up with essentially the half-court stripe on the side, but now it's going to be down underneath the basket.
And George Washington will use another timeout because, as you said, they had a play designed to inbound from the sideline rather than the baseline. So they'll use another timeout. They'll have one left.
Well, that changes things for George Washington. You know, now instead of having the ball right around the half-court stripe, great opportunity to get several dribbles and get a little open shot. Now you got to go the length of the court. And that makes it more challenging. Still time, still plenty of time, 4.4 seconds. You can get that done. But I think you got to get the ball in and have the offensive guy heading towards his side of the court. You don't want the ball, you don't want to catch the ball coming back towards the ball because then you got to turn, you got to square, you got to get your momentum rolling, and now you've lost 2 seconds. So if you're George Washington, you want to get it, either throw it down the length of the court into the other half court, or get somebody coming to the ball and then rolling away from it so they catch it in stride going towards the offensive hoop.
And they will not guard the inbounder. Jalen Robinson's just out of the picture. He's the closest. It'll come to midcourt for Bynes. They put it in the senior's hands. Bynes gets it off in time. It's no good! And we've got overtime.
Wow. Bynes with a great look. Give George Washington credit. They executed exactly the way we talked about it. Catch the basketball around half court and then drive it down. Plenty of time. Bynes with the rolling shot off the rim. It just rolls out. It was right there.
Almost the epitome of how it's gone for George Washington. They started the game, nothing would go in. And now they got to play 5 more grueling minutes. And boy, now you got to shift back, Tony, because now you're back to coaches shuffling lineups with all the foul trouble and everything that goes into what was the last 4 minutes of our regulation. Now you've got 5 more minutes.
With all the fouls that have happened in this game, you might see some managers over there getting stretched out, getting a little limber, because they might need to get in this game and make some shots.
You see, the Colonials have not had an overtime game this season. And the Flyers, on the flip side, 1 overtime. That was a 63-61 loss at USC back on the last game of December. Well, regroup and go back at it. Any thoughts on who may have the advantage now as you get to an overtime situation?
You know, it's a toss-up at this stage. It really is.
This game's had no feel to it whatsoever.
No, it's a toss-up. It really is. I mean, you think that George Washington would have some advantage because they have less guys that are sitting on the bench with 5 fouls, but, you know, I don't know. It depends on who comes out and really, I think, defensively sets a tone. I think defense wins this overtime. Neither team has been very proficient offensively, but whichever team can step up and play the best team defense, I think, has the best chance to win this game.
And the guy who tied it couldn't get it to go as Cromer with another solid take. Bounced off the back of the rim. Dillard gets right to the basket. Blocked by Armwood, but he's standing out of bounds. And we'll stay down here with Dayton.
How many missed layup opportunities have we seen George Washington have and just cause? I mean, there was so many opportunities to score at the bucket on a layup. He's unable to get it done. And there's Kevin Dillard coming into your living room.
And now Dillard from the three-point line. That rebound hits the floor and picked up by McDonald. He'll take it all the way. Put it in and got fouled.
Joe McDonald, length of the court, taking it all the way to the rim with his left hand. Look at that, just taking it up strong. Joe McDonald was not going to stop. He's going to take Kevin Dillard the whole way. Boy.
That was a tough 5th foul on Kevin Dillard. Remember the question I asked you 29 seconds ago? I think now George Washington with Dillard on the bench has got to be the favorite.
No doubt. No doubt. With Kevin Dillard, the man for this Dayton team, sitting on the bench, that was a tough 5th foul. I know this game has been called tight. I know it's been called tight. But that was a tough 5th foul in overtime on the best player of the Dayton team. Boy.
And Kari Price will replace Dillard. 20 points, 4 assists today. Their best free throw shooter.
And I'll tell you what, Archie Miller is hot. He is hot at the fact that his best player fouled out on that play. He is not a fan of the officiating that's gone on so far today.
And back to that zone defense here by George Washington that was pretty effective down the stretch and getting Dayton out of a rhythm. That was tipped out of bounds. Fans was wanting it to be out of bounds Dayton, but it'll stay with the Flyers.
Let's not forget the missed free throw by McDonald. That was a 3-point opportunity. Really a chance to go up by 3 points, which in this game could be huge. McDonald misses it, so it's still a 1-possession, 2-point game. And that's, with Kevin Dillard out of the game, Dayton's ability to score from the 3-point line just got half. So the fact that this is a 2-point game is an important point.
Officials got together to make sure that they had a deflection off George Washington. So much on the line today with everything else that potentially going on in the Atlantic 10, positioning for seeds. George Washington has to have a win and perhaps some help to get in. Dayton a win, they secure a spot. Teams could finish as high as 9th or not in at all. And Kari Price can't get that to go, but it'll tip out, and Price has got the rebound and another opportunity now for the Flyers.
Price had to take a tough shot there with the shot clock going down. He did a good job to get it up and get it to the rim, but Dayton with the offensive rebound, new life.
Pierre a three.
No!
Slices it down from the corner.
Huge shot by Sean Pierre, the freshman, stepping up and making a huge three-point shot for Dayton to take the lead.
With everything we've had going on, partner, we've had some pretty big plays made by some freshmen out here today. Here is getting back to the balloon and putting it in is Croma. LaShawn Croma has made some big buckets down the stretch.
All going to the rim. Croma just using his athletic ability to wind his way to that basket. These teams are trading punches like a heavyweight now.
And Sanford got up into the air and nowhere to go, turns it over.
Big defensive play by George Washington. I still think the team that plays the best defense is gonna win this overtime period and then win this game.
McDonald tried to get it inside to Armwood, but the defense by Robinson too tight, and now Croma again with 8 on the shot clock. Step back off the rim and Price the rebound.
Good defense by Dayton that time, forcing Croma into a tough shot.
Timeout. No. A foul on a reach-in against McDonald.
Boy, that's tough. I mean, let's watch the replay, see what happened here. I mean, okay, that's not a foul. I mean, I don't care how tight you're calling it, that's not a foul. Especially not in overtime in a game that's going to decide who's going to the conference tournament and who's done. Let him play, that's not a foul.
Kari Price has tied the game with that free throw. The rebound, Larson.
All tied up again. That seems to be familiar territory around here. We ended the first half tied up, ended the game tied up, and now we're back in overtime tied up.
Will there be anybody left to finish the game today?
I'm serious. I'm not sure I have any eligibility left, but they may need us, partner, to get in there and shoot some baskets, because there's not going to be too many people left at this pace.
And a travel as the shot clock was winding down. Larson didn't get it on the floor in time.
You could see the shot clock got him a little worked up. Larson knew he had to get to the rim and do something. Shuffled his feet. Good call by the official.
Darren Becker will replace Gorilovic. That is the first George Washington turnover in the last 10 minutes. .40 to go in our first overtime. Deshaun Pierre backing it against Armwood, who's in foul trouble. And Pierre with a little baby hook in the right hand will give Dayton the lead.
Kevin Dillard on the bench. Sean Pierre has stepped up and wants to make tough shots, and he is making them.
Armwood, and he'll get called for traveling. Thought he saw an open lane and gives it back.
Right now, Dayton, especially Deshaun Pierre, is handling the pressure the last 2 minutes of this overtime better than George Washington. Turnovers on the George Washington side. Deshaun Pierre making plays on the Dayton side.
Timeout Archie Miller and the Dayton Flyers. They will have still 3 timeouts left here in overtime. Each team getting the additional timeout. George Washington's got 1. Look at the players who have fouled out on the Dayton side. 3 very critical players, 2 senior starters, and perhaps your best player off the bench in Devin Oliver, although he only had 4 today. When he was out there, he was making plays.
Yeah, that's a huge blow to Dayton and their ability to score and score consistently. But I'll tell you, Deshaun Pierre has stepped up and really done what he needed to do. 0 points in the first half by Deshaun Pierre, 14 in the second half, and now 5 in just over 3.5 minutes in the overtime period. Boy, that's tall. That's pressure. That's stepping up and making pressure points when your team needs it, and by a freshman.
Guy who was a rookie of the week early in the season, back in November. A guy that down the stretch has been shooting over 70% in their last 3 wins. And Deshaun Pierre today, 7 of 8 from the field. And 5 rebounds to go along with those 19 points. Hello.
That's a great game. That's a great game by any player, senior, junior, sophomore, or freshman. But to get that type of a play from a freshman, especially when it's not even comfortable points, because usually when your best player's out there, and Kevin Dillard, you can score your points as the second guy. Deshaun Pierre is scoring as the best guy on the court. He is the man. He's getting the ball and he's taking it like, I'm the man, I'm going to score. And that's a different role. And you don't see a lot of freshmen willing to step up and able to step up and make those shots.
Well, George Washington in a situation now, you see the guy, Garino, who had fouled out. Larson's got 4, Chroma and Armwood with 3. It's amazing that they're not in any more foul trouble than they are in this game. And it's going to happen now on the defensive end, Tony, is they've got to get a stop down by 2. They get down 4 with less than a minute to go. It'll be tough.
Yeah, especially this George Washington team. They're not good scorers. They're not going to be prolific on the scoring end. So many opportunities for George Washington. The 2 travel calls in this overtime have just been killer for George Washington. You can't give up possessions. You can't have turnovers in overtime in this type of a game, and George Washington has done that in overtime, turned it over.
Robinson will wait for Kari Price to rejoin the front court. George Washington stays with the zone. Pierre right down the lane.
Oh, wow. This kid is having a game.
27 starts in 30 games this year for freshman Deshaun Pierre. He has taken the Flyers and put them on his back, but back the other way. Chroma still battling hard for the Colonials. Will go to the line.
Absolutely imperative for Chroma to make these free throws for George Washington. This is not the time you can have missed free throws. You got to make these if you're George Washington. And if you make them, you got to get back down the court and find somebody who can check Deshaun Pierre, because right now he's running rampant through your defense.
20th missed free throw of the day for George Washington. They are now 20 out of 40, and I'm really good at that math. That's 50%.
20 out of 40. Wow.
Missed them both. My goodness, Pierre grabs the rebound, and Dayton with a 4-point lead. And Coach Larnagher wanted to foul, but McDonald comes up with a steal and lays it in.
Unbelievable. Deshaun Pierre got pressure. Susie came over half court, coughed it up.
And a timeout, Dayton. Coach Lonergan wanted his team to foul, and then Dayton ends up turning it over. Oh.
New life again for George Washington. Just when we thought it was getting to the point where they weren't going to be able to come back, they're back again. Deshaun Pierre gets the ball over half court, tries to go between his legs. The ball gets kicked around a little bit, leading to an easy layup for McDonald. Boy, you got to be tough with the basketball there. That's, Deshaun Pierre has not played like a freshman hardly at all in this game, but that was a play like a freshman. You've got to be mentally tough and physically strong with that basketball in this situation. Dribbling, handling it, passing it, you've got to take extra special care of it. Jean-Pierre is a little loosey-goosey with it with the crossover, leading to 2 quick points.
Now there's 5 seconds difference between game and shot clock, Tony. What do you do here if you're defensively for George Washington?
I think you're going to pressure the ball first right now so you can get another turnover and another scoring opportunity. Then if it comes over half court, I think you're going to get a quick foul so you go to the free throw line.
And there's the turnover. Smith down the lane.
Oh.
And it counts, and there's a foul.
Oh, wow. Unbelievable. Price throws the ball away. Great job by Smith stepping in to get it, then going up under control. Laying it up, ball bounced on the rim, 30, 40 times before it dropped? And the foul, missed free throw.
They have missed their last 6 free throws, and with the shot clock off, Dayton with a chance to take the lead. And it's in the hands of Junior B. Sanford. Guarded by Bynes, playing today on a fractured tibia. Darren Becker down the lane, and a blocking foul on George Washington.
Darren Becker taking it to the hole. Contact with Smith. Movement by the defender. Darren Becker at the line shooting 2. Wow.
69% free throw shooter.
Man, somebody going to make a free throw today?
Dayton leads. So Darren Becker will check out. Gorilovic checks back in. George Washington has a timeout left. And Dayton will call timeout. Well, similar situation now, Tony, to what we had at the end of regulation with 3 additional seconds. We had over 4 seconds, and they got the ball to Bynes, and he got down the floor and had a great look. Now you've got almost 8 seconds. You can do quite a bit here.
You can, but I don't think you do it more slowly than you saw George Washington do it earlier. I think George Washington gets the ball up the court, takes a shot in the first 4 seconds of that possession, because the extra 3.7 seconds gives you the chance for an offensive rebound. And they only got 22 of those in this game. You know, they've scored on offensive rebounds all day. So I think the extra 3.7 seconds here, you know, the first 4 seconds, you get the ball up the court, you get a shot off, and then everybody crashes the offensive glass. So if you're Dayton, defense, defend the ball handler is huge, but just as huge is rebound the basketball. Rebound the basketball on the missed shot, because George Washington is coming to the rim.
All right, here we go. McDonald, Chroma, through a double team.
Oh, no!
Armwood with the ball! George Washington is back in front. Timeout, Dayton.
Wow!
Isaiah Armwood with an offensive putback from out of nowhere. Are you kidding me?
Todd, I could have swore I just heard one or two of us talk about offensive rebound. That's what I'm talking about. Missed shot, offensive rebound. That's been George Washington's best offense all day. Chroma's doing a great job taking to the rim, and Armwood just going in there like a man with the follow-up dunk. Wow. Wow.
Limited playing time today for Armwood because of foul trouble. And his 8th rebound of the game gives him 12 points on that putback. And George Washington has the lead. Yeah. The official coming over here to take a look at the monitor in front of us. Here. And going to get the replay here. They're looking at the second replay here. They want to check the time. About 3/10 of a second, I think, went off. So they will add more time back on. As soon as the ball goes through, the ball should stop. Or the clock should stop. So we'll see if they put more time back on or if they leave it where it is. So they had to come over to our monitors and check. What haven't we had today, partner?
Jeez.
Got 2.4 seconds left. Still got a lot of time.
There's still time. I mean, Dayton, the way this game has gone, you know, the team with the ball in the last possession just might win this game. You can't let your guard down if you're George Washington. Dayton can get the ball at least to half court and probably over half court and still have a shot to make that look. You got to defend if you're George Washington.
Darren Becker gets it off in time. Pierre will catch. He got it off. It will not count. It went in, but he got it off late. And George Washington wins. Now they will have to go to the monitor and take a look again. And they're probably coming our way, and they are.
Here they come, coming back our way.
They will take a look to see if the three by Deshaun Pierre was good. From the naked eye, it appeared that it was not. But they will take a look right here at our table. You be the judge at home. He did not. They're going to take a look at it one more time if they get the opportunity, but it appeared he did not get that off in time. He did not, and George Washington is going to win this game. Referee right now is using my partner's headset, so they were going to double and quadruple check this. And at least from our vantage point, it is clear he did not get it off in time. We'll let him make the decision, and when they